This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. And tonight from Busch Stadium, homestand continues as we wrap up a brief two-game set. The Pittsburgh Pirates and the St. Louis Cardinals. And welcome to the broadcast booth here at Busch Stadium with Rick Horton. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Jim Hayes is with us as well. The Cardinals 5-2 winners in Game 1. And Ricky, they'll turn to Jack Flaherty here in Game 2. He's been outstanding.
Opening day starter, and he has been the ace that we thought he would be. And I would say, Dan, Jack is back. And when you think about being back, you think about the 2019 version of Jack Flaherty. Post-All-Star break, really just epic numbers. 15 starts, a .91 ERA. This season, in 8 starts, he's 7-0 with a great ERA. And what I've seen from Jack is a dominant fastball, and his slider is back.
Undefeated National League pitchers under the age of 25 that have begun 7-0 or better. Sub 2.5 ERA. Exclusive company there with Jack Flaherty trying to go to 8-0 tonight. Then you have Pedro Martinez, the Hall of Famer, did it in '97 with Montreal, and Fernando back in 1981 with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Yachty is in the lineup. Do we expect anything else? He'll be catching Jack Flaherty. A look at Yachty when we come back on Bally Sports. The Pirates and the Cardinals, game number 2 from beautiful Busch Stadium in the Gateway City. Edmundo Sosa, another start tonight. Last night, really competed and did well defensively and offensively.
Well, when players are hurt and Paul DeJong is hurt, somebody has to step in and step up, and that's exactly what Sosa did. He hit the ball with authority, and you're right, he flashed the leather as well.
Tonight for the St. Louis Cardinals, Nolan Arenado, Dylan Carlson, Yachty, all in the lineup. Looking forward to this one. Game 2, Pirates, Cardinals, next. Baseball on Bally Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser, this Bud's for you. And by Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in the St. Louis area. Find yours at your Mid-America Chevy dealer. Cardinals taking the field. Nice crowd on hand here tonight. The Pittsburgh Pirates and the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals with their win last night are now 24-18. It's going to be hot over the weekend when Chicago gets here. 77 degrees our game time temperature. The Pirates have been scuffling as they dropped their 24th game last night. Ricky, they're now 17-24. And 6.5 behind Jack Flaherty and the Redbirds.
And a couple of their middle of the lineup guys are not in this game and in this series. That's Colin Moran. Brian Hayes is not available. And this is not a Pirates team that's very deep, and you just have to take advantage of it. And the guy to try to do that today is Jack Flaherty, whose numbers are very, very good. 7-0, and you look at the Hyundai pitch arsenal for Flaherty. And the fastball has the normal Flaherty velocity, changeup, slider, curveball. Especially the slider, to me, has been kind of his wipeout pitch. In spring training, he was underneath it a bit, and again, spring training a long time ago, but it took him a while to get that feel back, and it is all the way back.
This will be the lineup that he faces tonight, and the Pirates are last in home runs with 26. Last in slugging percentage, second from the bottom in runs per game. But it's baseball, and you never know what can happen. Adam Frazier at the top, and he's had a very good year. Kevin Newman, Brian Reynolds, Gregory Polanco, Will Craig, Ben Gamel getting a start. We saw him as a pinch hitter stay in the game last night. Wilmer Defoe, switch hitter, Michael Perez, and the pitcher batting ninth, Trevor Cahill. Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. There's Edmundo Sosa. He's at shortstop again. And to his right will be Nolan Arenado. Tommy Edman at second base. Paul Goldschmidt at first. Molina behind the plate. Williams, Bader, Carlson. Same trio from last night. And away we go for game number 2.
As we were highlighting Sosa, I just was reminded about how he didn't know if he made the team up until the last day of spring training. He was hanging on by his fingernails, and perfect for him and for the Cardinals that he's available with Paul DeJong being out. He is a true shortstop.
And showed it last night. Adam Frazier, 9 hits in his last 18 at bats. And he's got 52 hits on the year. That leads the National League. And second behind him, the Cardinals' Nolan Arenado and the shortstop of the Nationals, Trey Turner. First pitch fouled back and we're underway. Third baseman Nolan Arenado is in on the grass, and an off-speed pitch lifted down the left field line out of play, and it's 0-2.
Dan, you mentioned in your opening comments that the fans are filing in and they're starting to make more and more noise at the ballpark, and that's just going to get better. Cardinals announcing today full capacity beginning the 14th of June.
Can't wait to see it. Popped up. Arenado, foul territory, and makes the catch. That's a good sign because Jack Flaherty has been getting ahead and now he wants to be more efficient. He was talking about that the other day. Lowest opponent average on fastballs. Freddie Peralta saw him last week. Trevor Bauer, Brandon Woodruff, we saw him with the Brewers just a week ago. And Jack Flaherty, the average against that fastball, 154.
Good years, every one of those pitchers on that list, and it's not a surprise if they're not hitting your fastball. It gives you a lot of confidence to pound the zone, as Jack just did on the first pitch to Newman. So you get ahead. Now you can do all kinds of things to work on the batter, including throwing that slider down and away.
Newman has reached base safely in 17 of his last 19 starts. And the 0-1 pitch by Flaherty. A ball taken inside. Tom Hallion is the crew chief and behind the plate tonight, calling balls and strikes. Mark Ripperger is at first. Phil Cuzzi at second. Eric Backus is down at third. And the 1-1 pitch by Flaherty. Hit out of play. Flaherty was unscored upon in his last two outings against the Brewers and Rockies. So going into play tonight, working on a 16 innings scoreless streak, and that began during his last start against these Pirates. And Flaherty's had their number over the years. Cardinals have won 8 of Jack's 10 career starts against the Pirates. He himself 7-1 in those matchups. And the 2-2 pitch. Ground ball. Sosa to his left. Out number 2. So against the Pirates in franchise history, look at those numbers. He has dominated Pittsburgh.
The walks plus hits per innings pitched, anytime that's under 1, that means there's just no traffic, no base runners. And 9.5 strikeouts per 9. Big numbers against the Pirates. But Dan, we've seen it a lot. If you watch every game of a baseball season and you watch every year of a ton of baseball seasons, you have those moments where teams just play well on a given day. So you still got to get it done if you're Flaherty and the Cardinals. Even though the numbers are all in your favor today, the Pirates are big leaguers and they're not going to just let you beat them.
Brian Reynolds, good season so far for him. 293. He's got 15 doubles. That leads Major League Baseball. 11 of his last 19 hits have been 2-baggers. 1 ball and 1 strike. Oh, I'm just waiting for that called third strike by Tom Hallion. I believe it'll be a swift uppercut, and someone's going down. It's an emphatic call, Ricky, and we may get it here.
Well, you've got me on the edge of my seat.
Oh, you should be.
Tom Hallion's been around a long time. So I guess if you're around a long time as an umpire, you develop your own little personality. Your emphatic calls.
Not sure if he's incorporated the moonwalk yet. Leslie Nielsen. You never know. Never know what you're going to see when you come to the ballpark. The 1-2 pitch.
Oh, almost.
Oh, he was thinking about it. 2-2. Flaherty has struck out 509 batters over his first 81 career games, most ever by a Cardinal. The 2-2.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
Right hook to the chin. Out for the count.
I love it.
Having fun at the ballpark. The Cardinal cleanup hitter has been red hot. Nolan Arenado homered in 4 consecutive games. He's done that now for the 3rd time in his career. Tommy Edman at the top, then Dylan Carlson, Paul Goldschmidt, Arenado, Molina, Bader, Williams, Sosa, and Flaherty. Been around a long time, the right-hander Trevor Cahill.
And he's been around a long time, and he's had a lot of different uniforms too. 9 teams in the big leagues, so that means that everybody wants to take a shot at seeing if they can get him to that next level. And you know, you play as long as he has played in the big leagues, 33-year-old right-hander, you're doing something right.
And the first pitch to Tommy Edman. Went leading off a game, hitting .297. And he's done just about everything for this club. Second base, right field, and he's played in every inning. And Tommy smokes one out to deep right. It is off the top of the wall. Leadoff double, Tommy Edman.
Always been aggressive at the plate. He's not a guy that really is thinking deep counts initially. He wants to hit. He wants to swing the bat. And he can swing it with authority. Finds the gap, and how close? Yep. About halfway up that wall in right center field. A good start for St. Louis.
Ricky, we talked about it yesterday. The impact of moving Dylan Carlson to the 2nd spot in the Cardinal lineup. It began on April 23rd, and since that time the Cardinals are 16-8 with Dylan hitting in the 2 spot in front of Goldschmidt and Arenado. And that pitch is a strike.
What I like is the production hasn't suffered really anywhere in the lineup since that move. The Cardinals have had a lot of production at the bottom of their lineup, but I think Dylan Carlson at this point in his career is better suited to be in this spot than say the 5th, where you think home runs and RBIs and, you know, swing from your heels. I think he's just this kind of hitter to complement Tommy Edman at the top.
Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. He's had back-to-back 2-hit games, 10 multi-hit games this year. When he does that, the Cardinals 9-1.
It's a bit of an overgeneralization, but I want guys that can hit 1 and 2. And I want the guy 3 that can really hit and has pop, and I want the guy hitting 4 that has a lot of pop.
And you got that in this lineup. The 1-1. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Cardinals have won 8 straight over the Pirates. 24 of the last 35 they have won between these 2 teams. A lot of room on the left side of the infield. He will take it that way. And the 1-2. Good take just below the strike zone. You look at head-to-head matchups in the game. The Dodgers 28-8 against Colorado over this time period since 2019. The Cardinals 2nd best though against these Buccos. As Carlson pops it up on the infield, and the catch is made for the first out. Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Gamble in left, Reynolds in center, Polanco is in right. Defoe, Newman, Frazier, Craig on the infield. Perez is behind the plate. Paul Goldschmidt, a career .301 hitter, 15 doubles against the Pirates. He loves hitting against Pittsburgh pitching. Last night he hit a couple of rockets to center and nothing to show for it.
Just thinking the same thing, and it's not just last night. He's had a year of line drives. His hard hit percentage is outstanding, and the velocity off the bat, all of that's good. He's just not finding a lot of holes. But before it's said and done, he will put up Paul Goldschmidt numbers.
And the 1-0 off speed pitch. 1 ball and 1 strike. Rick Horton's Toyota key to the game.
Danny, I knew you couldn't wait. You couldn't wait for Tom Hallion strike call, and you also can't wait for the Toyota key to the game. And the key is to outmuscle the Pirates. You mentioned the low home run total for Pittsburgh. The Cardinals have hit a ton of home runs, and especially the middle of the lineup. And it's been a difference maker. They've scored a lot of their runs via the big fly.
Goldschmidt with 6 home runs, driven in 22, average. It's been hovering right around 250 for the better part of this season. It's at 242. Good speed at second, and Tommy Edman. And the 1-1 pitch to Paul Goldschmidt. Way outside, and it's 2-1. We talk so much about the benefit that Carlson gets hitting in front of Goldie and Arenado, but how about Goldie hitting in front of Arenado?
It's got to help it.
It has to.
You say, well, first base is open, so let's be careful with Goldschmidt. No, maybe we better not. When you look over the on-deck circle, all ideas of being careful go out the window.
And Goldschmidt hits it a ton out to deep right field. 1 hopper off the wall. Edman will score. Goldie trots into second base with a double to score Tommy Edman. 1-0 St. Louis.
Well, to be clear about our key to the game, not just home runs, but doubles, they count as power numbers. Something that's been preached in this game for a long time. When you're hitting the ball off the wall, 1 hop in the wall, you are showing some muscle, and the Cardinals doing that here in the first inning. I love the way Goldschmidt hits the ball to right field. He hits the ball hard to right field.
And now it's Nolan Arenado. Homered in his first plate appearance last night. He's homered in 4 straight. From 2015 to 19, Ricky averaged 40 home runs, drove in 124. His WAR was about 6.5. Arenado's current pace, 39 home runs, 116, and his WAR would even improve. That's how good he's been this year. The 0-1 popped up to the right side, and that'll get out of play. Those that have homered in 4 straight games as Cardinal third baseman, it's a who's who on that list. Last done by Scott Rowland in 02, and he's headed to Cooperstown fairly soon.
Whitey Kurowski is the name of the guy who shifted in a World Series against Ted Williams.
Yep.
Not that I was there, but I heard about it.
The 0-2 and a strikeout of Nolan. First strikeout for Trevor Cahill, and there's 2 away.
This is just a straight fastball, and Nolan was looking for something else. A little bit behind on that. Don't see that often.
In steps Molina. Nice round of applause. A little bigger crowd here tonight. We're expecting crowds close to 30,000 this weekend for the Cubs. And we have seen catchers put up really good starts to his season, but none have been like this at this age. And Yadier Molina at the age of 38. 302 average. He's driven in 20 through his first 27 games that he's played in.
And he may be the perfect example for his teammates when you think about the power increase from last year. Think about the Cardinals just were not scoring a lot of runs. They were not hitting a lot of doubles, triples, and homers. And this year been a different story. I think Yadi's been, as much as anybody, a guy that's a different player right now. And I know there was a lot of talk last year, and I believe it, that COVID affected the Cardinals in a big way. Several players not only getting it, but just being off for weeks on end and then playing all the doubleheaders. They weren't really at their strongest and at their best, even though they still got to the playoffs.
Pulled foul off the screen. Very thankful that those screens have been instituted around Major League Baseball and keeping the fans safe. That was a bullet. 2-1 the count. Runner at second, Paul Goldschmidt. The 2-1 pitch. Molina spinning away from that, and it drops in for a strike. 2-2. Just setting him up.
He might be.
You don't see Yachty do that very often.
Nope.
It makes me think, something's up his sleeve.
Try something
another one
new.
and then take it to right field. And Yachty throwing the bat at it, and thankfully to hit the screen of the dugout, the ball did, and the bat. That's a broken bat as he stays alive.
I'm not sure how that bat broke there. Kind of an odd break. We'll look at it. Is it off the end of the bat? It is. And he couldn't hold on to either piece. So he was probably going to lose his handle on the bat anyway, but that's not worth keeping.
I bet there'd be somebody that'd pay for it.
Oh, I'm sure there will. Hold that thought.
The 2-2. And a strikeout of Molina. So back-to-back Ks and also a pair of doubles in the first, and it's 1-0. Tommy Edman 1-0 after one inning. Let's check in with Jim Hayes.
Danny, I think it's safe to say Nolan Arenado has exceeded expectations. He's homered in 4 straight games. He leads the National League in total bases, and he plays Gold Glove defense at third base. Mike Schultz says Nolan's contributions go beyond all of that. Mike says the fire that Nolan exudes doing pretty much anything on the baseball field is contagious. Mike told me it's an amazing trait to play with that kind of passion and intensity, irrespective of the moment, is rare. It has a residual effect for sure. His teammates feed off it. And Dan, you can't watch a game and not notice Nolan's fire, and that goes beyond his numbers, which are pretty gaudy.
Absolutely, and he struck out in the first. That was just the 4th time he has struck out here in the month of May. And Ricky talked about it last night, where every pitch, every inning, every game, it's like Game 7 of the World Series, and here we are in May. So doesn't give away in a bat.
So and again, some of it is just what it looks like, and you don't always know what's going on in the heart and mind of somebody. But if you watch Arenado, you know he's competing. It's not that hard to tell, and it's as if it's the bottom of the 9th inning, the 7th game of the World Series, every pitch, every at bat. And there are, I could think of some players that have played this game that are almost like they're, batting practice, and they don't have the same, I guess, body language or presence to say that really matters. But boy, it sure matters to Nolan Arenado.
Now he backs up. This shift here on Polanco shade him just a bit into left center, and the 1-2 pitch. A slider in the dirt evens it up at 2-2. Good luck to the Blues tonight, and they'll be on the main channel of Bally Sports. Ricky, we are currently on the Plus channel, if you were wondering.
I feel pretty plus right now.
Good. The 2-2. Full count. So this is what we're talking about before in the first inning, where he gets 2 strikes on a hitter. Love to see him put him away a little bit earlier.
Yeah, you were talking about pitch count being low, and Jack wants to be that guy that can get outs quickly. Adam Wainwright is probably the best guy in the Cardinals staff in doing that.
3-2 pitch. Hit out of play. And with the ballpark opening up even more this weekend, and then fully in the middle of June, you come to the ballpark, watch between pitches, watch Nolan Arenado on deck. Right? The intensity that he displays with every single moment that he's out there. 3-2 pitch, and Polanco pops it up and foul. So just another reason to buy a ticket. Come on down to the ballpark.
So you watch him on the bases, as you say. You watch him in the everything he's doing is has a purpose to it. I noticed a little thing he did on a pop fly that was in foul territory that Andrew Kisner didn't catch a week or so ago, and he kind of got in Kisner's way, and he went to him and said that was my fault, and you could see him taking the blame for it.
Inside corner and missed, and a leadoff walk. I believe that was in a doubleheader against the Mets.
Speaking of the Mets, there's a pitcher pitching tomorrow against the Cardinals A-ball affiliate, the Palm Beach Cardinals, which is in Jupiter, and the pitcher is pitching for the St. Lucie Mets in A-ball, and that pitcher is Jacob deGrom. Good luck.
And was it today or yesterday? I think it was today. They faced Noah Syndergaard for 3 or 4 innings.
4 innings, and he gave up 1 hit in 4 innings. Syndergaard. So how about that back-to-back game? You're in A-ball. Now the Cardinals didn't see, the big league Cardinals didn't see either Syndergaard or deGrom because they were injured, but the A-ball affiliate has to see them back-to-back.
Good luck.
Welcome to professional baseball.
You got it. Edwin Diaz, by the way, for the Mets, last night was his 3rd game in a row that he pitched. This is Will Craig at the plate. Pitchers with 3 days in a row, it's only happened, Ricky, 24 times this year. And I bring that up, and that is hit to Arenado for the out, because in 2019 pitchers going 3 days in a row, it happened 233 times. So we're a quarter of the way through the season. That's under potentially 100 times that you're going to see pitchers doing that, and it gives you an idea that managers and organizations are being very, very cautious with their pitchers.
There's no question they're being that way, and you talk to the managers in the offseason. I was on every one of the Zoom calls with every manager during the winter meetings, and that question was a common question that was asked about, looks like you're playing 162, looks like you're starting on time. How do you manage your innings with your pitchers? And they said, well, we're working on that right now. Every one of them had kind of the same answer, that's a #1 priority for us not to overwork a guy. And it's not as if you almost, part of you wants to say, well, you didn't pitch much the year before, so you're all rested, so now you can pitch more. Well, it doesn't work that way. You have to build up. That's what spring training is all about. Spring training is all about pitchers, frankly.
There's a 1-0 pitch now to Ben Gamel, left-handed batter, with Polanco, the runner, at first base. Misses outside, 2 balls and no strikes. So we mentioned this is a team that does not hit for a lot of power, and right now Colin Moran is on the injured list, Phillip Evans as well. Those are the only 2 players that they have on pace for a dozen home runs. That's it.
And the best player on the team is on pace for nothing right now because he hasn't played, Brian Hayes.
Stephen Brault was to be their opening day starter. He's on the injured list. Chad Kuhl is also hurt, so they're a banged up team coming into this series. 3-0 the count with 1 out and a runner at first. So a couple of walks in the inning. Download the MLB app to get in-game video highlights, live pitch by pitch, breaking news, player updates, stat leaderboards, and more for your St. Louis Cardinals. Defoe came off the bench last night as a pinch hitter. He's 0 for his last 7 with a couple of strikeouts. Playing third base this ball game tonight. He actually leads baseball in pinch hits with 7, but getting a start here in game 2.
Ooh. Pretty close, that last delivery, and a good breaking ball too, and that you have to kind of mix it up when you keep throwing the fastball one after another. We talked about that yesterday. Occasionally you have to throw in a different pitch just to get back on track with your fastball.
And the 1-0 pitch by Flaherty to Defoe. 1 ball and 1 strike. Shift on the right side. Arenado is off the line at third. Outfield shallow. And the 1-1 pitch by Flaherty. Fly ball racing in. Williams racing out Arenado out of play. Two strikes on Wilmer Difo. Well, you look up and down the lineup, not great averages for the Pirates, but then you have to consider there aren't great averages across the board in Major League Baseball.
Good point.
Right now, the average of Major League Baseball,
the average
is 236. Worst all time. That's fouled back. Team hits per game is the worst since 1908, 7.8. And 36% of the time right now in baseball, you're getting the 3 true outcome rate. Second highest all time. Strikeout, home run, walk. Yikes. And the 1-2 pitch to Difo. Ground ball hit to the right side. Goldschmidt will take it himself. Steps on the bag. The Mariners were no hit last night. Their team batting average is 199.
They've been no hit twice. Cleveland's been no hit twice. And you know, I think about that phrase that you use, the 3 hit or the 3 true outcome. And there's the finish. There's the finish. Another no hitter. It's become epidemic in baseball. But the 3 outcomes you talked about, you know, the home run, the walk, and the strikeout. I don't like the phrase true outcome. They're not true outcomes. They're outcomes. I think it's a true outcome when you can get a 1-hopper to the shortstop. That's a better outcome.
Intentional walk here of Michael Perez, and that brings in Cahill. So they're all loaded up for the pitcher, Trevor Cahill, batting 125. I don't know. I think it's. I wonder if Mike really internally debated whether to walk Perez. He's just not had a good year.
He's 4 for 44 on the season, and of those 4 hits, 3 of them were in 1 game.
And that's my point.
Yeah, I would rather have seen Jack pitch to him, and not because Trevor Cahill's average is better at this point than Perez, but then you can have Cahill lead off next inning. I mean, maybe he felt, well, I can't live with it. I can't sleep at night if I don't make this move. But and it maybe say it's a slight gamble, but I'd rather see Jack pitching to Perez.
And to me, it's a gamble because he's walked 2 in the inning.
Yeah, so that's the other side of the gamble. That's right. Very different to pitch with the bases loaded.
5 no-hitters now through May 18th, tied with the 1917 season, most through this date in a single year. Overall, the most no-hitters in a season, that was 8 in 1884. And if things are going like this, we're going to get to 8.
I would think so.
I'm going to shatter it.
Wait till DeGrom comes back and some pitchers like Scherzer get in their top form, and he's always there anyway.
Sure.
He's a no-hitter waiting to happen.
And the 1-2 pitch now to Cahill. 2-2. Does not want to go 3-2. Wants to finish that inning right here.
And Cahill had a pretty good swing at the 2-strike pitch too. So he's not going down easily here.
Two. Check swing, and he did go. It's a strikeout, and the second tonight for Jack Flaherty. Midway through 2, Cardinals on top. Bally Sports broadcasters had so much to do with baseball history this date. That's Rick Ankiel. Unfortunately for him, Jason Kendall hit for the cycle. That was at Three Rivers back in 2000. I remember doing this game.
I recognize the center fielder there too.
Well, I didn't want to say that he misplayed it. I thought you played shallow, Jimmy. Apparently not. or just lay out on the turf.
Easy, he's watching.
I know he is. I'm going to be careful. Jimmy, you're the best. Kendall became the only Bucco player to hit for the cycle in the city of Pittsburgh over the last 62 years. Went 4 for 5, drove in 5 in the game. Couple of hits off of Rick Ankiel. It was also this date in 04. Brad Thompson breaks a 97-year-old minor league record, 57 consecutive scoreless innings.
How about that?
That's incredible.
Well, we remember hearing about that, that there was a Cardinal minor leaguer phenom, and we figured he's throwing 140 miles an hour.
And probably a really big beard, rough, gruff guy.
We thought he was just a big 6'4" nasty guy. We didn't know he was kind of like a slighter nasty guy. Now, don't let Brad's kind of nice smiley face kid you. That man could compete.
To the point, and I should let him tell the story, but I'll just give you the Cliff Notes version, that he was upset in a game at, I think it was Fenway Park. He got taken out and literally knocked himself out with a punch. Have you ever heard that story?
No, I've never heard that.
I'll leave it for a telecast with Brad, but that's the story. He knocked himself out.
I saw that
briefly.
Saw that in a Jim Carrey movie once, but that's just acting. He really did that.
Yes.
Huh.
There's also this date, 1962. Stan the Man gets single number 3,431 of his career. And that would set the National League record at the time. And he wound up, of course, with 3,630 hits. And amazingly, only Stan could do it. 18-15 on the road, 18-15 at home. That's an amazing stat to me.
Perfect player.
Was he ever? Jimmy just texted me and said, wow, was that a bad play? Well, you made up for it, ball game.
Good analysis. He was right on that.
Yeah. Here's a 3-1 pitch, and it's a walk for Bader. Cardinals don't run all that much. Bader, 2 stolen bases on the year. The team leader, Tommy Edman, was 7. And now it's Justin Williams. I think tonight, Ricky, for Justin Williams, for him personally, this is a big game. He's getting a chance to play against a guy that has had his issues with left-handers at the plate, and he was 0 for 4 strikeouts last night.
Yeah, I think the time is now for him to show that the 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts is not going to keep happening. Getting a chance to play back-to-back nights, make an adjustment. And we know in this game you can turn things around. You can turn opinions about you and thoughts, both individually and collectively, turn them around quickly. When the Cardinals came back from San Diego, we weren't all very happy, were we?
Not at all.
And a nice win yesterday, Flaherty going today, it just changes your outlook.
Shift on the right side. 1 ball and 1 strike. And the next to Williams, instead a check on Bader. Brad Thompson just chimed in. He said, I still don't know if I can take a punch or I hit really hard.
He's proud of himself either way.
Here's a 1-1. Runner goes. Throw down to second and a stolen base for Bader. Did he stay on the bag? Apparently he did. Also, he was able to keep his hair from getting dirty.
Well, it is the new part of stealing bases. It is, of course, important still to get a good jump. But then on the slide, you have to get to the bag quickly and then play twister. You may have to go to the foot to the bag or the hand to the bag or whatever to stay on it And there's some agility, and oh my goodness, hanging on by the fingernail.
And the hair did get in the dirt. The 2-1 pitch. Perez has not caught a runner stealing this year. He is 0 for 5. That's his 3rd stolen base for Harrison Bader, and that matches his entire total from 50 games last year. And tonight his 18th game. 3-1 pitch for Williams. Hit out of play.
Not trying to be negative about the stat that you just said, but just truthful. He didn't get on base a lot last year. Didn't have a lot of opportunities.
Yep. Leadoff walk, and Bader at second base. So his 3rd steal. Edman with 7, O'Neill with 4. Leaders for the Cardinals. 3-2 pitch. Inside corner, back-to-back walks. June 4th through the 6th, the Cardinals host the Reds. 10,000 fans ages 16 and older receive an adult mystery player replica road alternate blue jersey.
A lot of adjectives.
It's a lot. Fans will be surprised with the jerseys. DeYoung, Flaherty, Miles Michaelis. You don't know which one you're taking home. Courtesy of Old Dominion Freight Line. Cardinals.com/promotions. Miles Michaelis back in the rotation this weekend.
Well read, Danny, and that is good news about Miles Michaelis.
Here's Sosa. First extra base hit and run batted in the big leagues last night.
For those who missed it, Miles had a very good last start in AAA. Went 6 innings, didn't give up any runs, over 80 pitches, so he's ready.
Chicago in town. First of 3 on Friday night. Kept in front by Perez. So this is the announced rotation left to right Friday night. Martinez Saturday, Michaelis, and Wainwright will go on Sunday.
So KK is going to get pushed back a little bit, and that doesn't mean he's not going to pitch, but there is some thought, at least at this point, that the Cardinals would go to a 6-man rotation for a bit.
Also gives Waino a little time as well. Pitched on Saturday, so you push him back and he gets plenty of rest too. I think that Cardinals are going to do that, especially with 17 days coming up. We mentioned it earlier, coming off the truncated season. They're going to be careful.
You're protecting relievers, but you're also protecting starters' innings.
Here's a 1-1 pitch to Sosa.
So important in this game for the bottom of the order to produce. When they do, and the lineup turns back over, you've got traffic and your best hitters up. So these walks, Bader not necessarily bottom of the order, but a Bader walk and a Williams walk, critically important.
Out to visit now with Cahill. And as we talked about earlier, he's been around for a long time. A's 2nd round selection in 06. Diamondbacks, Braves, Cubs, Padres, Royals, Angels, Giants. He was an all-star in 2010. Last player to suit up for at least 8 different teams in 8 straight years. LaTroy Hawkins. He had a fabulous career, 21 seasons. LaTroy, the right-hander, pitched in Major League Baseball. He had 9 years with the Twins, and he's now in their front office. He's made 7 starts. Cahill has against the Cardinals. He's 0-3 with an ERA near 6 and trailing 1-0 in this game. The 2-1 pitch to Sosa. Instead, a check on Bader at second base. The 2-1 pitch. Inside corner, 2-2. Sosa gave the safe sign.
He's still questioning it, but he's doing it with a smile.
Yes.
Somehow that doesn't hurt as much.
The 2-2, and now he's hit by the pitch. A 2-2 breaking ball, and the bases are loaded for Jack Flaherty. I think this got him on the right spot, Ricky.
Well, we shall see. Oh, it slipped right out of his hands. It backed up, and we'll call that upper hamstring.
Well put, partner. Flaherty tied for 9th among pitchers, 12 hits since the start of 2019. He is homered this year. It's the 5th time that Sosa's been hit by a pitch in limited time, and that leads the club. The bases are loaded and nobody out. And that's a ball.
You almost have to take a strike here, don't you?
If not 2. And the trainer out to check on Cahill.
Well, the trainer went running out, but at some point you got to make sure that the home plate umpire understands that this is not an official visit, and it's okay for him to do that. But
wow, he's coming out.
You'd have to take him out anyway, but I guess a moot point because the trainer saw something critical enough that he felt like he needed to get out there and take the ball away from him.
So Brault, Chad Kuhl, and now Cahill. Looks like he's kind of favoring one side, walking off the mound a little bit there, maybe a little limp. And Flaherty will have a 1-ball, no strike count with the bases loaded and nobody out. And we're still waiting to see what direction the Pirates want to go with their bullpen. No one was up and throwing.
And the phone was just answered. And maybe the decision hadn't been made yet. And that's the manager, Derek Shelton, who, by the way, played at Southern Illinois University and was an outstanding catcher there. They said he had a big league arm, played 2 years in the minor leagues and hit .341 and then hurt his elbow and couldn't play anymore. I mean, this was a guy that was going to be a big-time big league catcher and realized that with an injury he had to change his profession and become a coach. And here he is managing in the big leagues.
Luis Oviedo is up. Dwayne Underwood Jr., the former Cub, is making his way now out of the bullpen. So it looks like they're going to go with Underwood here. And it's going to take a while for him to get loose.
Always difficult for a pitcher to warm up on the mound in front of everybody. I mean, and when I say everybody, you got the bases loaded. So there's pressure that you're brought into. You're not loose. You haven't really maybe even done the right stretching in expectation that you might be called upon. So you've got to kind of get it all done pretty quickly. Relievers, of course, don't need as many pitches as a starter. A starter needs about 50 pitches, Dan. A reliever, more like 20 to get ready. But it is a whole different animal warming up on the mound with the stress of trying to get it done fast.
Okay, so we'll step aside. Dwayne Underwood will start the throw, and the bases will be loaded with one out, or nobody out, excuse me, and a 1-0 St. Louis lead. Underwood Jr. pitched with the Cubs in 2020, 17 games at an ERA of 5.66. And here recently, hasn't been great. 5 2/3 ERA of 6.5. Opponents hitting close to 300 against him. So Jack Flaherty will hit with a 1-0 count and the bases loaded. The last Cardinal pitcher to hit a grand slam was Jake Westbrook, part of the world champion 2011 team. And this is our Chevy called to the pen.
Are you foreshadowing that?
I got to see a pitch or two first.
Okay.
I got to get a good feel for it.
Well, speaking of seeing a pitch or two with Underwood throwing here, that's one of the things that, again, if you're inside his head, you realize how difficult this is because you're showing everybody everything you've got.
That's right.
You're actually announcing your pitches as you warm up. And Jack Flaherty's been standing in the on-deck circle watching every single pitch, so he's timing it up. And not just Jack, but Tommy Edman standing close to him. And there's no mystery.
Bader, Williams started the inning with walks, and then Sosa hit with a 2-strike pitch. He's at first base. Are you calling this grand slam?
No, I'm calling a base hit. I'm calling a base hit to left. I have no internal knowledge, or no specific inside knowledge about that. Just a guess.
Gotcha. Let's see if he's hacking right away. Infield is in. He is. Line to right. Polanco makes the catch. Good base running by Bader, tagging up, and also Williams on a line drive to right. They advance, and it's 2-0. You don't realize that Gregory Polanco is 6'5". He needed every bit of it looked like, to make that catch.
And well hit by Flaherty right on the button, and he did need all of his height and all of his reach. Unfortunately, he can't throw anymore. He's had shoulder issues, and the Cardinals very alertly know that. So Bader quick to tag up, Williams quick to tag up, and they knew there'd be no play on them either base.
And that is the second sac fly in the career of Jack Flaherty. Top of the lineup. Tommy Edman hit one off the wall, doubled his first time up, and came around to score on a double by Goldschmidt. Runners at the corners now. Sosa and Williams. (2-0) St. Louis. Sosa is running, and a throw down to second. Williams back to third. And Mundo Sosa with his first stolen base.
Cardinals have been pretty efficient when they run. They don't run a ton, but when they run, it generally works. 19 for 24, make that 20 for 25 in stolen base attempts. That's a very nice ratio.
Infield in for Tommy Edman. The 1-0. Hit out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike. First steal for Sosa this season, second in his career. Kia player profile brought to you by your local Kia dealers. Tommy Edman this season, what he's done, and then the comparison of the league average. Edman up the middle, base hit. 2 runs will score. 4-0 Cardinals, and Tommy is 2 for 2.
We talked about the importance of production at the bottom of the lineup. Get on base and then turn the lineup back over again, and then have your guys that can flat out hit at the plate. And Tommy Edman's one of those guys. I just love his at-bats. Hits a lot of balls hard, whether they're line drives, on the ground, in the air.
I'd say Ricky, run again.
Why not?
Tommy Edman at first. Team leader in steals with 7. Not running, and the pitch is a ball. One plus for Cahill. Close the book on him. 4 runs 2 hits, 2 strikeouts, 2 walks, and hit a man. Dylan Carlson popped up into the shift his first time up.
Ooh, he wanted to run. Tommy got a good first step and then put on the brakes. Actually threw out the parachute. I think that's what he did, like a good dragster would.
13th multi-hit game for Tommy Edman, the 4th multi-RBI game for Tommy.
And I think he'll go here.
One ball and 1 strike. Not running, and the pitch in the dirt, but it's the constant activity that has to be in the back of the mind of Dwayne Underwood.
Right.
All of a sudden you're rushing your delivery, pitch gets up, and then Carlson blasts a 2-run homer.
I may have said this already, but I think he'll run here.
Shift on the right side. Underwood takes a look at him, leaning towards second. Not running on the 2-1, and it's now 2-2. Tell you what, Perez is thinking the same thing the way he came out of his catcher's position. He was ready to throw.
Do I get 3 for $1?
No, sir.
Okay.
I can't do it.
All right.
And your thoughts here on 2-2? Go ahead and say it. Double down.
I think he'll go here.
Okay. He is leaning again, not running again. Okay, on 3-2, I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's running on this pitch. He is taken off Ricky on this pitch.
I would concur, because it's 3-2. That makes sense.
That's right. Edman is running on the 3-2, and it's taken for a ball. You just see Underwood was not comfortable in that at bat with Carlson, and I think a lot of it had to do with Tommy Edman.
Yeah. There is a progression that a reliever goes through to get ready to get into a game. It's you're in the soft focus, sitting in the bullpen. You know the score, you know the time, you know who's next in the bullpen. You got a general idea. When there's an injury, you have not done your pre-work in your brain getting ready. So you come out on the mound, you're trying to do all that at one time, get yourself in competitive mode, which is remembering all the details about the hitters you're facing, getting loose, getting stretched out, and I think it does throw off relievers from time to time. They're not ready fully to pitch.
So 2 on and 1 out. There's Paul Goldschmidt, RBI double off the wall and right to score Edman back in the first. I talked to Zach Duke the other day, who pitched a number of years. Lefty, spent some time here in St. Louis, a lot of years with
Pittsburgh,
the Pirates, and I asked him about that, and he said innings 1 through 4, you're solving life's problems, and watching the game, you're a fan.
Right.
And then in the 5th, you start to really pay attention.
I think that's a fair statement. Unless you know that there's a situation the pitcher's going to have short.
That's right.
I mean, there's a lot of things that you can know.
Normal situation.
But you start to slowly go from soft focus to hard focus.
Makes sense.
It's actually a whole chapter in a book called The Mental Game of Baseball about hard focus, soft focus.
The 1-0. 1 ball and 1 strike. Cardinals with 3 runs here in the 2nd inning and a run in the first. They've scored 4 runs on 3 hits. And now Perez wants to talk it over with Underwood.
I'm not a big mound visit counter, but the Pirates are running out of them quickly.
They were left with 1 last night. I don't remember a time since that rule has been instituted that a team has run out of visits. Do you?
No. And I'm waiting for the time where you're out of visits and you don't realize it.
Yeah.
You don't really focus on it. You start to go out again, and the umpires are supposed to instruct you not to.
Breaking pitch and a strike to Goldschmidt, 1-2. Underwood has allowed 10 of 11 inherited runners to score this season, all 3 tonight. Big gap in left center, and the 1-2 pitch is hit foul to Stubby Clapp with those quick hands down at first. So they shift on the infield for Goldschmidt. Underwood is set. And the 1-2 pitch to the Cardinal first baseman. Into center field and a base hit. Here comes Tommy Edman. He will score, and it's 5-0 St. Louis. Goldschmidt is driven in 2 tonight. He's up to 24.
Reynolds was playing so deep in center field and actually shading towards right center that Tommy Edman didn't even get a good jump on this line drive, and you can tell it's a line drive. It's knuckling into center, but look at Tommy Edman. He goes back to the bag, yet he's still able to score easily. Again, the Pirates outfielders don't have cannons, and Pop Warner is well aware of that, the Cardinals third base coach. He's been busy through the first couple of innings.
5-0 Cardinals. Nolan Arenado with runners at first and second. It is all St. Louis here early on. Last Cardinal to homer in 5 or more consecutive games. His teammate Paul Goldschmidt 6 straight in July of 2019. 1 ball and 1 strike. Goldschmidt had not had an RBI since May 11th at Milwaukee. He's driven in 2 tonight. The 1-1. Arenado slices one into the gap in right center. Carlson will score. Goldschmidt to third, and Nolan Arenado drives in his 31st, and it's 6-0 Cardinals.
Such a good low ball hitter is Arenado, and like Goldschmidt, not afraid to take a ball the other way. That's down, the head on it, and the big finish of Arenado, and whatever that means.
So runners at the corners. 9th man to come to the dish, Yadier Molina.
Normally takes us about a half a season to decipher all of the signs.
Well, you had Salsa going for a while. That was a long one.
You had the Wainwright upside down glasses.
Oh yeah.
For when a guy would walk. I mean, you have a good eye, and he kind of pretend to put glasses on, especially for pitchers. And some of Carlos's
well, yeah, I don't know what those are. I gave up. The 1-0. Pulled towards third. Off balance throw, and they'll turn 2 on the double play. Defoe, Frazier to Craig. Big inning for St. Louis. They pick up 5 and they lead it 6-0. Goldschmidt and Arenado. Goldie with 2 driven in. Arenado with 1. He's up to 31 already this season, and the Cardinals have a 6-0 lead. Run support aplenty this year for Jack Flaherty, and now has been given a 6th spot here tonight.
Has not always been the same in his career. The Cardinals have not always given him a lot of run support, and his win-loss record, which I know some would say doesn't matter, and I guess it matters to the pitcher, of course, but it matters to the team. But if your team is not scoring runs for you, it's hard to get those W's, and Jack's certainly getting a lot of support this year.
Adam Frazier, top of the lineup, popped out his first time up, and it's 2 balls and no strikes.
So Dan, I hate to return to last inning, but you said something that's just been kind of swimming around in my head, and you know there's a lot of room there.
I do.
You made a comment what Zach Duke said about what relievers do the first 4 innings of the game, which is what?
Solve the world's problems.
I remember it differently. I think we were creating a lot of the world's problems. I remember it totally differently, but maybe I played in a different era than him.
How many roommates did you have over the course of your years?
2 in the big leagues, several in the minor leagues, but roomed with Jose Uribe and several guys in the minor leagues, but Andy Van Slyke and Ken Daly.
I was slick as a roommate.
He was great as a roommate.
Speaking of the Pirates, one of the great recent Pirates, Andy Van Slyke.
He was great, except the very first road trip I went on with him, I was half waking up. We were in New York City, and he ordered room service breakfast. And then I got the bill.
Well, that's a veteran move.
Well, he was only in the big leagues 1 year before me. And it wasn't that I had to pay it, but I had to pay half of it. It was still more than I would have done.
I got it.
But that was welcome to the big leagues in New York City.
Yeah. 4 walks for Flaherty. That ties his season high. Did that against Miami. This is where you'd love to see him be efficient now. And he's had a little issue here with the strike zone in the 2nd inning, and now to begin the 3rd.
Well, you really need to attack the zone when your team does score those runs for you. That's your repayment for that. Get him back to the plate quickly. Have a 10-pitch inning.
And the 1-0 pitch. I remember you telling me about some roommates that you had in college ball. And you said, well, I roomed with their luggage.
Yes, I did. College is a little different. It's a little lonelier to room with their luggage.
Two balls and 1 strike.
And Jose was a challenge because the reason they wanted me to room with him was to teach him English.
Did you guys teach each other?
I learned Spanish. I'd been doing that for a couple years in the minor leagues with other players, but you know, it was real immersion with Jose because his English was almost non-existent at that point.
Two and 2 the count. And the next by Flaherty is hit out of play. So the Cardinals will enjoy another off day tomorrow. Then the Cubs in town. 7:15 Friday night, 6:15 Saturday, and then they'll play again on Sunday Night Baseball. And it's off to a fairly lengthy road trip after that. And the Pirates have a late night flight down to Dixie after this game, and they'll play at Atlanta tomorrow. Lined into center. There's Bader. He'll make the catch for the first out.
When a ball is generally hit in the direction of center field, do you worry at all?
Not with that guy out there.
Exactly. I mean, he has really transformed the outfield defense for the Cardinals, made everybody else better. I think he's as good right now as he's ever been defensively.
So confident.
Yes.
And I wonder if it's a byproduct of his confidence, one or the other. Defense bleeding into the offense or the offense to the defense, but it's been a good package.
Harrison told me that during the offseason that last year was very, very hard on him, hard on everybody, of course.
And the first hit allowed by Jack Flaherty, clean base hit into right off the bat of Reynolds.
But to finish that thought, what Harrison said is, it was a lonely summer for me, and the only place I felt like I was being myself was when I was playing center field.
Do you remember when we first started doing games and we got the opportunity to come to Busch Stadium, completely empty with the exception of the ball club, and I was coming here to do some of the games on the internet, the inter-squad games. So ballpark hadn't been used in what, 4.5, 5 months,
right,
whatever it was. And I went and took a little walk around the concourse up here. I was one of the only people, and it was dusty.
No doubt.
It was cavernous.
Eerie.
Yes. So 1 out and 2 runners on. Here's Gregory Polanco. Big swing and a miss. They sat me down. They gave me a microphone. They said, well, we have 3 cameras. We're going to try to do this. We think there's an appetite for fans to watch these inter-squad games. That first night, Ricky, we had 80,000 people log on to watch on Cardinals.com.
That's great.
People were looking for any kind of distraction. They missed baseball. Ground ball. Edman to second. Runners at the corners and 2 away.
Talking about being a confident fielder. Yes, we see that in Harrison Bader, but we also see that in Tommy Edman. I like him getting the middle runner there. Would have been easier for him to just get the out at first base, but as a pitcher, you appreciate him keeping that other guy out of scoring position.
And now it's Will Craig. Pittsburgh 2 or fewer runs in 11 of their last 15 games. Got off to a fairly decent start, 12-11. Then the Cardinals had a sweep at PNC Park, and it's been a rough go ever since. Here's the 0-1. So we were doing those games on Cardinals.com, and we had cameramen and women that really had never run a camera before. We had people directing the game that really had never done that before.
Got to start somewhere.
No producer, lineup sheet, microphone, go get them. And we had a lot of fun. It was awesome.
And the cutouts were already being assembled or not yet?
They weren't here yet.
They weren't here yet. So this is so even more lonely.
It's as empty as you get. And remember how limited I mean, you had to be tier 1.
Yeah.
So you were a player, coach. John Mozeliak was in that group. Not many from the front office, and that was it. The 1-2 pitch missed on the inside corner. Beautiful night here in the Gateway City. Glad that you're with us. Rick Horton, Dan McLaughlin, Jim Hayes with you. Cardinals a 6-run lead here in the top of the 3rd. And the 2-2. Craig gets a piece.
Are you ready if he strikes him out?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a vicious uppercut. I think it'd be apropos, though, if he did it to Adam Frazier.
Down goes Frazier.
Exactly. The 2-2 hammered out to deep left field, but Williams is under it, and he'll make the catch.
We'll take that.
Outs and outs and out. 6-0 midway through 3. Download the McDonald's app to grab a $1 any size frozen beverage every game day. And that's at McDonald's. Fans are back at the ballpark, and for many fans, I've heard from so many fans, Ricky, that have said, I can't believe what's happened to downtown St. Louis. The construction in Ballpark Village You will be amazed if you have not been to St. Louis in the last year or however many months it's been. It's a different looking scene.
And I think the development is going to be happy to see more people too. Think about it that way. I mean, it's going to create more excitement to be around a lot of people and feel comfortable, and just really looking forward to that expanding. Of course, safely. That's always been kind of the mantra with this, but I think the time is right. And for those that missed it, the Cardinals announced on the 14th of June it'll be full capacity opportunities at Busch Stadium. So the Cardinals.com for tickets.
Backhanded at third, and Bader is the first out.
Keep that in mind.
So individual game tickets for full capacity go on sale May 27th. And tickets starting at $6 planned for many games this summer. And the idea behind that is that they want to get folks down here. Get back into the idea of coming to the ballpark, being safe, and enjoy it.
One of the things that the Cardinals have reminded me of several times is the fact that there's a lot of hotels down here that have excellent rates too.
Yeah.
So we know that a lot of fans come from out of town to come to Cardinals games, to come for a weekend, wherever you may come from, and take a long trip and watch a couple of games during the summer and stay downtown. So not a bad idea to check some of the hotel availabilities right now and get that locked in.
A lot of people would be interested in the situation that Underwood had. Now, you talked about in a normal spot, you said a reliever about 20 pitches, warm up in the bullpen.
Right.
And the umpire will tell him, take as many as you need when you get out there.
Right.
But between innings for a starter, if he stays in the game, for instance, Jack Flaherty, he'll get 8 warm-up tosses. And that's how it works.
But the 20 that Underwood threw might not be sufficient in this kind of situation.
Line to center for out number 2.
Because you may have played catch for a couple of innings prior. You may have started to get loose. You see guys throwing weighted balls against a wall. That's part of your getting loose period too. You know, Andrew Miller, we've seen him time and time again. He likes to essentially do a drill with a towel. It's a towel drill, and that's partly to get yourself loose. And we see guys working with all kinds of things to do stretching as well, with tubing to do stretching during the early innings. So all that's out the window, and you just got to start throwing. The other time that experience happens is when the pitcher gets thrown out of a game.
Yeah.
And having played with Joaquin Andujar, I kind of know what I'm talking about with this, because I was usually the guy that would come in after he got tossed.
You had to clean it up
for whatever reason. Could be hitting somebody, could be whatever. I was often coming in those moments.
The 2-0 pitch. So Sosa's going to get a little run here at shortstop. Hopefully the news will be the fact the Cardinals will get DeYoung back sooner rather than later. On 3-0. He does not swing the bat, but there's not a position player on the mound.
And you are alluding to
Tony La Russa, Yerman Mercedes of the White Sox in a blowout against the Twins, swinging on 3-0 against a position player. That's been the talk of a lot of folks in baseball, whether or not you do it. The unwritten rules, which I've never read.
No, you can't. That's part of the name there. But honestly, I come down in a different place than Tony La Russa does on that.
I totally do, Ricky.
And I, in my mind, Fernando Tatis had that issue last year. He had a grand slam at a similar moment on a 3-0 pitch. But in my mind, if you're 3-0 on somebody and you're a pitcher, and I don't even care if you're not really a pitcher, if you're kind of the utility guy, Matt Carpenter pitching, so you want something to happen. I mean, you're 3-0 on the batter, so I actually would want somebody to swing 3-0, because the idea is you might line out somewhere. So I don't think it's in my opinion, I feel like it's not necessarily showing somebody up. I think it's worse to try to work a walk against a position player, by the way. That to me is, I don't
Swing
get
the
that.
bat.
Exactly. Know the score. Swing the bat.
Good rip there by Flaherty as a sac fly to right.
And I have great respect for Tony La Russa. And if that's in an unwritten book, I didn't get that copy. But, you know, I'm kind of semi-old school myself, and I would not think that way and I don't think many pitchers would.
And I understand it's a blowout and it's lopsided, but this is supposed to be entertainment. And you know, the guy that I think is old school as it gets is Lance Lynn.
Yeah.
And he came out this morning and said, I have no problem with it. None.
Lance just loves to disagree with Tony La Russa.
Well, probably right.
he would say up and down, and he would say down, he'd say up. You know that. In a good way.
I had no problem with it.
I didn't either.
There was a point, though, that Mercedes, my understanding was given the take sign on 3-0 and swung through it. So you could look at it from the perspective of you're not following along what your manager wants.
So I could realize that would be a time to handle that behind closed doors somewhere and tell him, look, I'm running the show here. And I would be okay with that, too.
And a walk, and that's number 5 issued to the Cardinals tonight. And the third by Underwood.
In my mind, the worst thing would be if Matt Carpenter was pitching and it was 3-0 and there was a pitch that was a ball and was called a strike and the player argued about that. Now that would be
a real problem.
That would be a problem for me. And I'd get so mad I would send Brad Thompson out there to get him.
Is that right?
Well, we've already affirmed his toughness.
He's tough. Tommy Edman lines it to first, and a diving play by Will Craig, and the Cardinals will strand a pair. They've left 4 on, and they lead at 6-0. It's time that we saw the Chicago Cubs in St. Louis, the final game of the 2019 season. Budweiser, what's on tap? It was official then. The Cardinals had wrapped up a spot in postseason play. They clinched the NL Central, and that is the last time the Chicago Cubs have been in St. Louis. All the games last year played at Wrigley Field.
And because we've been talking about it, I paid attention in that video as we just watched it. Yeah, there was a lot of hopping on the field and fun and then great moment. But to look beyond those players and to see the fans,
I mean,
totally full. Boy, that just kind of grips me a little bit. I'm just so amped up for that moment to have Busch Stadium filled up again.
There's Ben Gamel, Wilmer Defoe, and Michael Perez. We'll see how far they can go with Dwayne Underwood tonight. He would be due up 4th. Flaherty pitching into the 4th, and he's allowed 1 hit. 6-0 our score. First pitch, a strike. Cardinals had an entertaining series with the Braves that year. Had to come from behind and win that series in 5 games, and then went to the league championship series and fell to the Nationals.
As did everybody else.
Yes, sir. Let's start by Anibal Sanchez is the one that comes to mind in that series. And the 0-2 pitch by Flaherty. Popped up. Arenado giving chase and over and sliding in a foul ball. All I could think of was don't hurt yourself.
I think that's why he slid. I think that's again a veteran move. You just keep going without sliding, then full speed into that railing will hurt, and you're not going to get any help from the guys on the other team. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Fought off.
popped up. Easier play this time for Nolan. And the first out. Get to know the story of Nolan Arenado's baseball upbringing. So much more. New edition of Cardinals Magazine is out, and you can become a subscriber today. The number to call, 314-345-9000. Visit cardinals.com/magazine. So Gamble retired, and now Wilmer Difo. Grounded out to first. The Nationals, by the way, we were talking about them. They are 16-22 and 5 games back of the Mets. Mets are in Atlanta tonight. Phillies 1 game out. Braves are 4 out. Marlins 4.5. So pretty tight division early on. Remember, they started out very poorly in their World Championship season.
They did.
And then got it going. Just past Sosa, and a base hit into center by Difo. If they continue on this trend, Max Scherzer a free agent to be. What will they do with Mad Max? I don't know if I ever mentioned this before. He is from St. Louis.
I did hear that. Yeah, I knew that.
Okay, pitched at Mizzou. He's a Hall of Famer there.
And you're saying that
I grew up a Cardinal fan. That's all I'm trying to say.
I believe that you are trying to establish a fit.
Oh, he'd fit fine here.
I'd say. I'd say so.
Well, Sosa is near the bag at second, so a ground ball to Nolan Arenado. The turn is probably Sosa, the shortstop. Now he's moving towards the second base side, and an 0-1 pitch to Michael Perez. Arenado cheating over just a bit. That's it out of play. Big happy 75th birthday to Jerry Pogue, who's at the ball game here at Busch Stadium tonight. Happy 75th to Jerry Pogue. 75 years young, no better place to be than right here. Nothing in 2 of the count. Arenado now at the shortstop position. Pulled just foul.
Perez not so sure about that. Thought that ball might be fair. He has not been able to buy a hit. He hit that ball on the nose.
You can understand why he's yearning for that base hit.
You bet.
That's past the umpire, so I'm sure they're taking a look at it.
Yeah,
and my point is, if it goes past the umpire, it's reviewable.
That's correct.
Here's a 0-2 pitch. Hit out of play. So the Cardinals, after this weekend, Ricky, what do we have? Arizona, got the Dodgers coming up. Albert Pujols.
The West Coast trip actually begins in Chicago.
No, Chicago's here.
I'm thinking with the White Sox.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
that's at the end of May. It's the Chicago White Sox, then Arizona, then the Dodgers on that trip. So we can somehow find a way to ask Tony La Russa how he feels about that 3-0 home run a couple of weeks after the fact.
Good breaking ball there by Jack Flaherty. Strikeout number 3.
Oh, boy, did I love Tony TV.
The best. Jim Hayes loved it. There's a strike to Underwood. I can't imagine, though, being 76 and the travel that's involved in the game and trying to manage a big league club. Tiring enough with different aspects of the game, different roles, much less being a manager.
During a time where access and communication is not at its best because of ongoing protocols, and that's going to loosen up some, but communicating is not that easy right now. The Cardinals, because they have 85% vaccines or more, they've reached that threshold. They can actually have their ball talk, which Mike Schilt instituted as an important way to discuss the game with small groups of people. That's really been I think a staple of his managerial career at the big league level. But now they can actually do that in person.
0-2 and a strikeout. Well, with the pitcher up, I think Tom Hallion just went for a rib shot. Not for the chin.
Showed mercy.
He did. St. Louis Cardinals baseball on Bally Sports Midwest is brought to you by Ford, the official car and truck of the Cardinals. And by Steel. Find your Steel dealer at steeldealers.com. 6-0 our score. Home half of the fourth rolls in. Cardinals have out hit the Buccos 5-2. Registration now open for the Cardinals virtual 5K. It's presented by Bally Sports Midwest. And this year's race celebrates Lou Brock, his legacy on and off the field. You pick when and where you want to participate, receive a premium pullover and finisher medallion, and proceeds will benefit Girls on the Run St. Louis, Cardinals Care Redbird Rookies. And sign up at cardinals.com/5K. Dylan Carlson, the hitter. And a ground ball to second. Misplayed. Carlson is aboard. You can see it coming.
You bet.
You know, time and again with the second baseman, the outfield grass and the lip of the grass, you're going to get some tricky hops, and it plays with a different bounce once it gets there too.
Yeah, it's what, the fourth bounce. I mean, do you come in and get the third bounce or the second bounce? And he was not sure whether he wanted to stay back or come in. And there's that indecision, and he waited for that hop, and wasn't the true hop he wanted, and then hits the heel of his glove. And you almost, when you stay back, you know you got to hurry a little bit too. And Dylan Carlson was running down the line right out of the box too. I give him some credit.
It's one thing I noticed with Colton Wong over the years on that type of play. He always was charging
No
in,
doubt.
and he would tell us, "I'd never want to see that hop on the grass. If I can get to it, short hop or not, I'm taking it." So here is Goldie, who is driven in 2 tonight. 1 ball and 1 strike. On deck, Nolan Arenado. Fidgeting on deck. Big gap in left center.
Oh,
what a cut.
oh. That's as vicious a cut as you're going to see from Paul Goldschmidt, who has a little bit more of a quieter swing typically, but that was not quiet.
Came out of his shoes.
He did.
Carlson, your runner at first base, and a 1-2 pitch. And it's another 1-2 pitch. Goldschmidt hits it the other way. Beautiful piece of hitting. Carlson stopping at second base. And the Cardinal first baseman is 3 for 3 tonight. And in steps Nolan Arenado.
Game of adjustments. Goldschmidt went from vicious swing to 2-strike approach. Very different swing here. This is just bat to ball. Not much to it, but they're giving you the right side of the infield, and he took it.
Arenado tonight is struck out. Picked up an RBI and a single to right center. Back in inning number 2, and the Cardinals picked up 5. Underwood is starting to get under some of these breaking balls, and we may see his 5th home run in as many games. Arenado is hit in 6 straight games, 4 home runs in 4 consecutive. He's driven in 8 in the last 6. The 0-1.
We may have to start a home run jar for you, Danny, when you predict a home run. We just put $1 in it, and if you're right, you get all the money.
I'd say in the end of 2019, and I'm on a little bit of a roll.
Okay, well then
I'm not sure about this one.
You're not sure. Okay.
I just know it's going to be hit hard, and that's really going out on a limb. The 1-1. 2-1. I'm liking my chances a little bit more. The swing pitch that we always talk about.
That's right. And swings the batter's way. The batting average across baseball when you are ahead in the count is 200 points higher than when you're behind in the count.
It's incredible.
That 1-1 pitch, whether it's 1-2 or 2-1, is critical to me.
Pitch number 49. Okay.
Get your dollar out.
Kind of liking the chances here, Ricky. 3-1. Underwood probably a little bit on fumes here.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't want to throw this pitch.
No. 3-1 pitch. Got underneath it. Popped up. Infield fly. Not quite enough distance. And the first out here in the 4th. You know, you talked me into that, and I never officially said I was going to do it. I just said it was going to get hit hard.
And?
Well, he hit it high.
You're begging a little. You're begging.
I was. And I am. For Underwood, this will be pitch number 51. Part of the thought process is that this is the most he's ever thrown coming out of the bullpen.
Yeah. And I'm sure this is his last inning. There's some action now in the Pirates bullpen. It is Oviedo, not the Cardinals Oviedo.
And a foul ball off the bat of Yadier Molina.
But Luis Oviedo.
They like him a lot. They think he's going to be a very good pitcher for them for a long time. Molina 4 for 16 with runners in scoring position this year. Molina trying to add to the Cardinals' 6-run lead here in the bottom of the 4th. Outfield is straight away. Little flare into shallow right. Polanco will make the catch. I think it's almost a compliment in how teams play Molina defensively. They play him in a traditional defense because he can spray the ball. Harrison Bader. First time up, walked and scored, stole the base, his 3rd, also grounded out to 3rd. He's reached base now in 17 of the 18 games he's played in. And they will shift on the left side of the infield, shade him just a bit into right center in the outfield. 2 outs, 2 on. Strike 1.
We talked about the 2-strike approach that Goldschmidt has. Arenado has it too. He's not afraid to go the other way and shorten up. You can't hit a home run on every pitch that you have. The count doesn't dictate that. I just wonder if those 2 guys in the middle of the Cardinal lineup have started to affect guys like Bader and Tyler O'Neill just by example. It's like, well, those guys are doing it, but I really love the changes that Harrison Bader has made.
0-2.
You try to be dangerous on the first 2, and then you go to a 2-strike approach.
And a swing and a miss. So Underwood, the strikeout, is first of the night. Cardinals strand a pair. They have left 6 on and lead 6-0.
Cardinals up 6-0 as we go to the 5th in St. Louis. Harrison Bader has been a difference maker in center field for the Cardinals. He describes his defensive approach as aggressive. Bader told me you have to want the ball. If you don't want the ball, it's going to find you. You have to play with no fear. He says it's so rare in baseball. You have the ability to control factors. You can do that on defense. Bader says you can't control where it's hit, but you can control everything before that, being mentally locked in, knowing the scouting, so you know where to position yourself and get your good jumps. Dan, he says he loves all things associated with playing center field, but he does them with aggression.
You also can control effort, and he gives you constant effort, which is something you appreciate as well. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Frazier at the plate.
There's
and a check swing.
There's a culture of effort in the Cardinals organization. I think it would stand out if you were a player that didn't play hard.
Well, how many guys come over here and they just say they played the game the right way? Now, it's not always done. We know that. There's Bader coming in. But really, you think about when Tony La Russa took over in '96, and especially those early 2000 teams. Now, don't get me wrong, they're talented. There's Hall of Famers, whether they're Red Jacket or Baseball Hall of Famers, so they're very, very talented. But the effort was there too. Played it right.
And being a good teammate's part of that effort. I heard a story today that John Nagowski's gotten a lot of advice from Paul Goldschmidt and Matt Carpenter, and he kind of went to them and talked about, you know, I've never really pinch hit before. So they both called friends of theirs who were long-time pinch hitters. I'm not sure who they all were, but they contacted guys to contact John Nagowski to help him understand the mindset. Now that, you know, that it's not in their job description really, but it is the job description of a good teammate.
There's Kevin Newman, and the 0-1 pitch. Lined. Oh, Sosa with the play. Outstanding. Takes a hit away from Kevin Newman.
Boy, not much time to react on that play by Edmundo Sosa. And he helps out his pitcher. Just a step to your right, a dive, and you better have the glove in the right spot. And he did.
What a great play. You know, think about the play too. If you're just watching, you're a scout and you're taking in both teams, and you watch the game and a half here in this series. Think about the play Arenado made last night. Ball up the line. Throws a seed over to first on a short hop. Wasn't an easy pick for Paul Goldschmidt. They make that play. You think about that play right there. I mean, they've just done a lot of little things in this series, doing the things right.
Dylan Carlson making a play going up against the wall in right center.
It's been clean baseball.
Yes, it has.
The 0-1. 0-2. A friend, Matt Bays, who never misses any of our telecasts, and he is a veteran, and he was telling me about Barb and John Benwell. John is a veteran of our armed forces, and he's been dealing with ALS for about 20 years, and he said, Dan, they never miss a telecast.
Wow.
Never. And so Barb and John were thinking about you tonight.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for your service, and thanks for your support of Cardinal baseball.
Absolutely.
The 0-2 pitch. Off speed, and he just got a little piece of it.
I should also add, Dan, that we had a very nice moment before the game. Our longtime friend Al Raboski was down on the field catching the first pitch, and it was delivered by Brett Reitz, who is the son of former Cardinal Kenny Reitz, who recently passed, and former teammate of mine and Al's. And the Reitz family is here today. They're being honored. There was a chance to get a Reitz bobblehead today, and he was able to throw out the first pitch.
There's a strikeout, number 5.
And they also had great communication about the Ken Reitz Foundation that was started right after his passing. And it's just a chance for people that have needs to have funds for young people who are dealing with addiction issues, and they raise money for that. And KenReitzFoundation.com for those who are maybe interested in supporting or finding out more about what that work is. It's really a family project now, and it really comes from the heart. But Kenny was a wonderful guy, a wonderful teammate, and we've lost too many former Cardinals in the last couple of years.
Here's Gregory Polanco. Our buddy Mike Shannon honored with the prestigious Pinnacle Award by the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame today. Baseball event in Springfield, Missouri. Missouri Sports Hall of Fame is in Springfield. If you get a chance, check it out. It is loaded with history. Folks from all over in sports in St. Louis and beyond. That is beyond the wall and a long home run. Gregory Polanco, two-run homer. And his fourth home run of the season, on base for the second time.
And Jack Flaherty finally gives up a run. His long string comes to an end, but he still pitched very well in this game. Cardinals have missed a couple of opportunities, I should say. It's a 4-run lead. Game's not over yet.
A lot of baseball to go.
Yeah, you got to keep adding on.
Here's Will Craig. And my partner tonight, he is a member of the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. I was there in that night that you gave your speech. Great speech, great honor in Springfield, Missouri.
Very grateful for that.
As you should be. It's a neat event every year. A couple of events usually throughout the year when COVID is not here, or even when COVID is. Mark Lamping, the former Cardinal president, just recently went into the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame.
Well, what a great leader he was in the Cardinals front office, organization, team president.
And he's now with the Jacksonville Jaguars. 2-1 pitch. 3-1. Pitch count, and this might be the final inning for Jack Flaherty. Who knows? It's pitch number 90 coming up, and his spot is due up third for St. Louis. 3-1. And a fly ball lifted to right. Into the corner goes Carlson, and he makes the catch. So Mike Shannon, congratulations on the Pinnacle Award, handed out by the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame today. The T-Mobile coverage cam. Busch Stadium here in St. Louis. Game that was started by Pirates starting pitcher Trevor Cahill. He was removed from the game, we understand, with left calf discomfort. And Cahill went 1+, pitched into the second, did not record an out. 4 runs, 2 hits, a couple of strikeouts, walked 2, and hit a man. Then it was Underwood, and now it's Oviedo. Luis Oviedo, and our Chevy called to the pen.
ERA high for Oviedo, so is the whip out of the bullpen. This is game number 9 for him. And he comes on as part of a double switch. Eric Gonzalez now playing first base, so the last batter in the last inning, Will Craig, he is out, and that is now the pitcher's spot, and Gonzalez will bat in the 9th spot for Pittsburgh.
So it'll be Williams, Sosa, and then Flaherty. There was a tarp on the bullpen mound. That's now been removed, but no one up and throwing just yet, which gives you the indication they'd like to get one more out of Jack Flaherty. New season high in attendance tonight, 14,677. 14677.
Going out on a limb and saying that's going to get broken very soon.
Friday night. Williams with a base hit.
Well, we both thought, Dan, coming to the park today when we saw Justin Williams in the lineup, that this would be an important game for him. And, well, he's come through. He's hit the ball hard twice. He lined out the center. Now a base hit to right. And he's also walked and scored in this game. So good for him.
Here's Sosa. Was hit by a pitch, stole a base, scored a run, back in the second, walked in the third, and has made a diving catch at short. First hit for Williams since May 9th against Colorado. Base hit into right. Williams to second, and he will stop there. And to your point earlier, Ricky, Cardinals need to tack on some runs here. There's a ways to go in this game.
Well, the best way to answer the 2 runs that Flaherty gave up in the top half is to score some in the bottom half and not let the Pirates get settled into a 4-run deficit. Add on and add on quickly. This is a slider that just does not break. And that's the secret to hitting. Hit the right pitch in the at-bat that you can handle.
Jack Flaherty with 3 sacrifices this year. Picked up an RBI and a line out back in the second with the bases loaded, and has also walked. The corners are in, 2 runners on. Cardinals have had runners on in every inning of this ball game. They've stranded 6. They've out hit the Pirates 8-4. Flaherty squaring to bunt.
So the Pirates did a modified wheel play defensively on that. And what I mean by that is the shortstop was moving to cover third base as the pitch was being thrown. He's already cheating in that direction. That's Newman. And what that allows, and the third baseman given the signs now for whatever defensive alignment they'll use here. But when the shortstop goes to cover third, the corner infielders both can charge hard and try to get that lead runner. But there's nobody at home on the left side of the infield when you use that play. That bunt play a little more standard. Newman was not covering third. So a little cat and mouse game going on right here, but the Pirates are going to change it again. Third baseman given all kinds of signs. And we'll see how they deploy their defense here. If they do not do the wheel play, the idea is to bunt it to third. More likely to be successful.
The 1-1. Pulled it back, takes a ball. 2 balls and 1 strike. Flaherty, the owner of 16 career sacrifice bunts. Three and 1. Oh, I could hear Tim McCarver right now. I mean, Oviedo, you know Flaherty's going to bunt. They're giving you an out. You know he's saying that.
This is the big leagues.
I mean, that can't happen.
No.
No. I mean, you're asking for trouble. .200 career hits in under 200 career games for Tommy Edman. It started with hit number 199. And there's number 200. Cardinals have received 6 walks in this game. That was the 4th walk Flaherty is drawn. And Edman Takes a pitch low.
In this case, it's better to do receive than it is to give. Talking about the walks, and we know what it's like to be on the other end of that.
26 of them the Cardinals issued over the weekend.
Maybe I should stop bringing that up. We'll just forget about it.
It's got to move on.
Never happened, Dan.
Pulled the string. 1 ball, 1 strike. The 1-1. Edman rips it out to right field. Polanco over and makes the catch. 2 runners tag up. 1 will score. That's Williams. And that makes it a 7-2 St. Louis lead.
And how tall did you say Polanco was?
6'5". And again, he needed all of it.
He needed that and a good jump because that ball was hit on the nose. And reaches up and maybe a little leap at the end too. Polanco's had a good game.
Home run, a walk. So here is Carlson, and the infield corners are in. Middle infield not quite all the way in. We'll see if they move. Here's Dylan Carlson. Runners at the corners. 1 out, 2 on. And that pitch taken low. Cardinals are 4 for 12. Already 12 opportunities with runners in scoring position. And that was also a problem on the recent road trip too. Just a bad combination. The walks and then lack of hitting in these timely spots. The 1-0. 2 balls, no strikes. Goldschmidt on deck. The 2-0 pitch on a shift now on the right side, and he takes it the other way. That's a base hit. That's run number 8. 8-2 Cardinals.
Oh, he wanted the Cardinals to answer back after giving up 2 runs in the top half of this inning, and it didn't take long. A couple of walks have been a part of it, but some good at-bats too, including this one by Dylan Carlson. He just drives that ball the other way. Line drives. I'll take them anytime.
How good is he going to be next year, year after? He's 22.
One of the other reasons, and we talked about it earlier, I just like him settling into that second spot of the order right now. I mean, he's going to be a middle of the order hitter at some point in his career, and it may happen faster than we think. In fact, he was a middle of the order guy last year at times. After he came back, had a rough go at the beginning and went back down to the alternate site, then came back and was on a tear, and he was as hot as anybody for a 2-week period. But I just think him settling into that 2 spot right now is going to let his ability just continue to develop.
Runners at first and second. 8-2 our score. Goldschmidt takes a ball. .324 average with runners in scoring position. Big cut.
The Pirates have just had a hard time stopping the Cardinals offense in this 2-game series. 5 runs in the first 3 innings against one of their top starters, JT Brubaker. And Cardinals with 8 runs on 9 hits, and we're only in the 5th inning.
The 1-2 pulled foul. Goldschmidt has had a 4-hit ball games this year. That was back on April 1st. A double and an RBI in the first. RBI single to center in the second. Base hit to right. 2-strike base hit to right last time up. 2 strikes on him here. 1-2 with 2 runners on. He is taking some vicious cuts tonight, and it's almost like something had been, I hadn't heard this, so don't read into what I'm saying. Now, he did sit out a game way back when with a sore back, but it's almost like he's able to unleash it tonight.
Yeah. But he's still not afraid to go the other way if the pitch dictates it.
That's right. The 1-2. Arenado on deck. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And we'll do it again. Elevated that pitch, and a strikeout of Goldschmidt. And with 2 outs, it brings in Nolan Arenado. 1 for 3 with an RBI tonight. Trying to make it 5 straight games with a home run. Arenado lifts it in the air out to left, and the catch is made on the edge of the track. Gamble playing deep. Cardinals strand a pair. They pick up a couple. They lead at 8. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and not to be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. 8-2 as we head to the 6th here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Join us for a midweek interleague series at Busch Stadium June 8th and 9th. Cardinals take on Cleveland each day. 10,000 fans entering with a ticket receive a Cardinals bucket hat. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. 6th inning rolls in. Jack Flaherty again given plenty of run support. 8-2 our score. Approaching the century mark in pitches, so Cardinals want to get at least 1 more inning out of him. By the way, Ricky, Corey Kluber of the Yankees has no-hit the Rangers through 7 in Texas tonight.
You said there'd be another one soon. That you didn't mean today, did you?
I didn't. That record's gonna get shattered this year.
This week?
Tomorrow? And a fastball and a strike. Flaherty 7-0 on the year. Gave up 6 runs on opening day. Since then, ERA of 1.47. 1 ball, 1 strike.
So with the off day coming up and the Cardinals talking about going to a 6-man rotation, one of the other things that can do is help lengthen out individual starts. Instead of saying, well, I only want him to go 70 because he's going to pitch in 4 days. Well, he's not going to pitch in 4 days. Now because they go to 6-man doesn't mean you can't insert Jack wherever you want him.
That's right.
Which I think would be a good idea. But I do think overall, it makes you feel a little more comfortable letting your pitchers get that pitch count up towards 100.
And the 1-2. Flaherty trying to join Bob Gibson, who did it in 1965. Only pitchers in Cardinals history to win 8 of their first 9 starts to begin a year. And again, Bob did that in 1965. And fitting that Jack Flaherty may tie his buddy Bob Gibson.
You bet.
The 2-2 pitch. Lifted in the air to left center. Bader wants it and has it. Gamble over 2 with a walk.
You know, I think it's an important part of baseball is the study of its history, and that's not just kind of a personal feel. It really is kind of something that has been handed down for many years, that you understand the people that have come before you, and certainly Bob Gibson is a guy that we should continue to remember and talk about how important he was. And from the player development point of view, Gary LaRocque enforces that or reinforces that by making sure that all the young players see photos of former Cardinals, and they will have moments where they will explain to the young players who they were and what they did. That's part of the education.
Spring training clubhouse. You
Right.
have the main clubhouse, and then some of the minor league clubhouses are there. But the big complex, you walk down the hall. I think one of the great motivating factors for players is the pictures of players developed by the Cardinals, big pictures, and it shows them in game action in St. Louis.
That's right.
It's motivation to say, hey, you probably see this guy, or you may be playing in a game with this guy today, or maybe you're on a backfield with him. Well, here he is. He made it through our system.
And they also honor on another wall the Cardinals minor league player of the year and the Cardinals minor league pitcher of the year currently. And so the second you get on that, and they know that they're shooting for that, and they want to be on that so they can be associated with those other players.
Defoe is out and had to wait for Tom Hallion to officially call him out. He had to wait until he got to the grass out of the dirt before he officially raised the right hand with an out. He started walking towards the dugout.
He just said, never mind.
Got to wait, and then put the right hand up.
And that was the curveball from Flaherty. You saw the spike grip. And so he's got more weapons than just fastball, slider. Give him a lot of credit for getting through 6 innings here. Not quite there yet, almost.
We're talking about the fastball that he's had, and Craig Counsell in his last start, Counsell said he was throwing a different type of fastball. He was getting 97 in the 5th inning. And he was so good in that game against the Brewers. 60 thrown of the fastballs. The Brewers went 1 for 9 against it. And it's a 24% whiff rate, the highest against fastball in any start that he had even a year ago. But you know, a year ago was just unique. They were building him back up. By the end of the year, he could be extended, but unique year for so many ways. One pitch from getting through 6 innings here tonight. And Perez got a piece of it to stay alive. This will be pitch number 105 coming up. Swing and a miss. Ends his night with strikeout number 7. Eight, 9-0 for the Cardinals. 2-4-1 for Pittsburgh. And Yadier Molina leads it off. The end game box score Only guy that has not reached base is Yadier Molina. Everybody else picked up away, whether it be with a hit, a walk, hit by pitch, whatever, but they're getting on base.
And when you talk about a lineup being long, that's what players and managers are talking about, that you've got production all the way up and down the lineup, and you're not getting it from just one spot. And the Cardinals have done that against the Pirates in this series, and they've avoided, to this point, seeing their A relievers, which I think is also pretty key, because they've got a couple of guys out there that can throw. Bednar is having a terrific year, and so is their closer, Richard Rodriguez.
Cody Whitley begins to throw in the Cardinal bullpen. Molina out in front, pops it up. Perez gives it a look, and it's out of play. Second time this year that Flaherty has struck out 7 or more batters. Both times against Pittsburgh. Back on May 1st, he struck out 9. One ball and 2 strikes. And the next to Yadier Molina. And a base hit out to left, and now Yadi has reached base, and everyone in this lineup, including the pitcher spot, has been on base.
Time to redo that graphic.
Yep.
Just had that little hole in it. Didn't seem fair. Yadi wanted to join in on the fun. Yadi's been consistent this year too. There have been times where in his career he just kind of gets worn down, and you still want him in the game though, for obvious reasons, because he's Yadi, and maybe the swing just doesn't work for 4 or 5 days in a row. I just haven't seen that kind of, I don't know what the right word would be. I don't want to say call it tired, but just a swing that's not as sharp. Just have not seen that from Yadi yet. He just, again, a quarter of the way through the season, and he's just motoring along.
It is a kind of game, though, when you're up by 6, maybe if you get a little later, you think about taking him out, especially after the off day tomorrow, which would play into this.
Yes.
You know, you could extend him. There's 2 ways to look at it, right? You could say, well, let's extend him because you're going to have an off day tomorrow. The flip side of that, maybe we can buy an inning or 2, get him off his feet, and others if you want to.
I like that idea better, but I think you have to be sure that you're doing it at the right time,
exactly,
as you say. And you know, what's the right time? Maybe it's the last couple of innings. Give Andrew Kisner a couple of innings behind the plate. And you know, sometimes Yadi wants to catch particular pitchers too. That's part of it. We saw that in spring training. Yadi caught a ton of innings in spring training because there were relievers that he wanted to get to know. So he was out there all the time.
Yeah.
And you know, I think at this point we're probably past that, but we'll see how Mike Schill plays it. I agree that rest with an off day is even better rest. It's almost like getting a day and a half off.
Kluber, by the way, is through 8 innings, no hits allowed, 93 pitches. We'll keep an eye on that. The Pirates, by the way, 1-20 this year when trailing after 6. Justin Williams tonight walked and scored in the second, lined out to center, and singled to right and picked up another run scored. 8-2, Cardinals on top. Shift on the right side, the 3-0 pitch. He's on base again. Third time tonight for Williams. And the batter will be Sosa.
Oviedo has had trouble with walks. And certainly the Cardinal Oviedo had trouble with walks his last time. I felt so bad for him. He just really couldn't figure out his rhythm in San Diego. And of course, he's been sent back to the minor leagues. We'll see him again. He's a great talent, got a great future and all that, but maybe just not quite together enough in his delivery to be able to repeat it often enough at the big league level.
Now it's Sosa. Nice night for Edmundo Sosa. Hit by a pitch, scored a run in the second, stole a base, his first of the year, second of his career. Walked in the third, singled to right, and scored in the fifth. And the 0-1 pitch. Cardinals already have stranded 8 through 5 innings of play. The Pirates have not had a 1-2-3 inning yet.
Well, the 7 walks have been killers for them.
No doubt. And the 0-2. Got him. So strikeout is Sosa, and that's out number 2. And a pinch hitter. This will be John Nagowski. Second strikeout for Oviedo. So that ends Flaherty's night. Chance to be a winner and go to 8-0. And here's John Nagowski. Pinch hit last night, swinging on the first pitch and popped out. Two runners on, 2 outs. And the first pitch to Nagowski. Take it for a ball inside. So he was hit by a pitch, you may recall, in Miami. Then he had to go on the injured list. Spent a little time down in the minor leagues and now back up in the bigs. A ball and a strike.
Nagowski has some power for those who are not that familiar with him, but I think of him as more of a hitter than anything else. First baseman, he plays some left field, played left field in college at some points.
He was at Florida State, a Seminole. Spoke to former Seminole Shane Robinson today. Out of the game right now, teaching a lot of young kids down near the Atlanta area.
Sugar Shane.
Yep. He had almost 10 years in the big leagues. The 2-1 pitch. And Nagowski sends a fly ball into right center. Over to make the catch, Polanco. The Cardinals have left 10 on. We head to the 7th. St. Louis on top.
8-2, Cards lead the Bucs in St. Louis with a stretch of 17 games and 17 days on the horizon. Even with the return of Carlos Martinez and Miles Michaelis, we might see John Gant get a start or two. Gant got the win last night, going 5 1/3. Gant has walked an awful lot of batters this year. He leads the Card staff with 28 walks and has had to pitch out of more than his share of jams. But he's done it well, as his 2.04 ERA shows. Mike Schilt told me it's not a recipe we want to live by, but he's been able to do it. Possibly pitching out of the bullpen and working in traffic has helped him work through those situations. Dan, Gant, valuable piece out of the bullpen, valuable to make a spot start.
All right. Good job last night. Took that line drive off his hand or wrist area, but everything seems to be fine. And as always, good stuff, Cat. Our Chevy call to the pen, Cody Whitley. Right-handers are 2 for 19 this year against Whitley. The lefties 2 for 14. We're in the 7th, and this is Eric Gonzalez.
Well, John Gant was certainly able to get his command back in his start yesterday. Commanded his fastball very well, and his curveball for that matter. And Cody Whitley is a guy that, chatting with him this offseason, he said several times in our conversation, I hate walks. But he's walked 5 guys in 9 innings. Nobody's hitting him. But his command has been off a little bit. And that is not like him. You look at his numbers in the minor leagues, he's a guy that's a strike thrower.
And there is a walk. Eric Gonzalez is aboard. He was part of a double switch back in the 5th. The Cardinals decal featuring Nolan Arenado could be yours, presented by Shelter Insurance, and that's June 3rd when the Cardinals take on Joey Votto and the Cincinnati Reds. And there's a strike.
Whitley is a pitcher that has really benefited from some of the analytics that have been fed to him about his spin rate and arm angles and all that related to his breaking pitches, and he actually learned something from that he's used. He found that his arm slot was not in the same, maybe the right arm slot to be able to complement the high fastball that he throws at elite levels. He has a spin rate that's really high up in the zone. Hard, maybe the velocity's not there at 99 miles an hour, but the spin rate makes the ball hop, and so he wanted to have a pitch that complemented that. So he's actually changed to a little bit more of a downward breaking pitch. That reminds me of Gallegos a little bit, that the breaking ball goes off the fastball and makes him a good 2-pitch pitcher.
You think that's also about pitch tunneling too?
Yeah.
Everything coming out of the same arm slot. There's a base hit into right, and the first 2 have reached. 2-hit night for Adam Frazier, the league leader in hits, now up to 54. And that was career hit number 500 for Adam Frazier. Corey Kluber, by the way, is 2 outs away from a no-hitter. Out to visit is Mike Maddox. And while you have a moment, quick word from Great Southern Bank.
What's more convenient than over 100 helpful locations? How about one you can take with you? Wherever life's path leads you, we're just a tap away with Great Southern Mobile Banking.
2 on and nobody out. Tyler Webb is throwing in the Cardinal pen. By the way, Kluber's doing this against the Rangers. They've already been no hit. That was by Joe Musgrove. So this could be the second time that they be no hit.
And if I'm not mistaken, Cleveland's been no hit twice, and so is Seattle.
Yeah.
So I guess they come in 2s.
So 2 runners on, and Kevin Newman grounded to short, lined out to center, lined out to shortstop Edmundo Sosa.
I think we've reached a point in the game, and the only way to get a shutout is to have a no-hitter going.
No kidding.
Because typically they won't leave pitchers in through 9. It's almost like it's forced. These no-hitters have forced that decision on some managers.
Corey Kluber, by the way, has just pitched a no-hitter. Corey Kluber, longtime Indian. Teams had to go watch him work out in the offseason. A lot of teams went and watched. I mean, the guy has been sensational. His career proves that. Some teams came away, said, well, the velocity was down. Don't know if I want to take a chance on him. Brian Cashman does. And he tosses a no-hitter tonight for the Yankees. One ball, one strike with 2 runners on. 8-2 our score. Good changeup. It is getting pretty amazing how many no-hitters are being thrown right now. And that doesn't even include Madison Bumgarner with a 7-inning no-hitter. Base hit into left, and the bases will be loaded now for the Pirates and nobody out. A walk in back-to-back hits. That's the first Yankee no-hitter since David Cone back in 1999, and now Mike Schilt will make a pitching change.
Only one walk in that game for Kluber.
Tyler Webb coming on when we come back. Poster group in style in a Cardinals diamond suite, accommodating groups of 10 or more. Diamond suites located between first and third base. They include a buffet, full bar service, perfect for celebrating special events, VIP clients. And for more information, visit cardinals.com/suites. The base is loaded, nobody out. Tyler Webb is in as he'll try to get through this jam here in the 7th.
Tyler's had some struggling moments this year, but he's been an important part of the Cardinals bullpen for the last 4 years. And I had the pleasure of being on a virtual program with Tyler Webb yesterday, honoring the Scholar Athlete Award winners in the greater St. Louis area. One athlete from each high school, Scholar Athlete, and he and I chatted about that. He took some questions from some of the Scholar Athlete winners, and that's a long time program the Post-Dispatch has put on, and the Cardinals of course sponsor it as well. Bob Bragg, the Hall of Fame broadcaster or baseball writer I should say, really his dream to honor Scholar athletes in St. Louis. Been a great program.
So they're all loaded up. The switch hitter Brian Reynolds. The 2-0 pitch. Check swing and a foul ball.
Think about how important those 2 runs the Cardinals got in the bottom of the 5th inning, that answer. So it didn't settle into a 4-run lead. A little more stress this inning, not that there's not enough already.
Inside. Last time we've had back-to-back days with no-nos was April 30th, 1969. Then on May 1st, Jim Maloney of the Reds, and then Don Wilson of the Astros. 3-2 the count. And a ground ball. Tommy Edman out there, run scores, safe at first, and it's 8-3. StatCast powered by Google Cloud, and a home run hit by Polanco back in the 5th. About 106 miles per hour off the bat. And a long home run into the seats in right. Polanco against lefties this year is 0 for 20, 10 strikeouts. Popped up. Arenado over. And out of play. And the 1-1. The 1-2 pitch to Gregory Polanco. Two. Into left. Williams is over near the line and out of room. Remember, Justin Williams had that play against Pilar and the Mets with the bases loaded. It wound up being a foul ball barely and leaped over the wall in left right before it hit, or maybe not, the foul pole, but he made sure he got it. It was a great play.
Well, I think that play right there just kind of begs the question, do you catch it or not? If it's in foul territory, it ends up a sacrifice fly and a run, and my answer would be yes.
I think 8-3, yes.
Considering the score.
2-2. His first hit against a lefty, and Polanco drives in a run to make it 8-4. So Gregory Polanco on base for the third time tonight. And the Pirates not going away easily.
No, they're not. Back to that 4-run game again. Polanco's had a good night. Watching Polanco play in this game, it just makes me think about what could have been had he not had the injuries that he's dealt with. I mean, he's still a good player. I'm not dismissing him, but he was, I think of Polanco, I think of Oscar Taveras in the same sentence. They were the two elite, can't miss players of the future at one point.
Ildemaro Vargas, and that's a base hit. It's now 8-5. And with that, Enesis Cabrera starts to throw. Runners at first and second. And all of a sudden, the tying run is at the plate, and this is Ben Gamel.
I wonder if this is the stall to get Cabrera ready. I think it is. They're going to talk as long as they can possibly talk before Tom Hallion's going to go out and break it up, with the hopes that Genesis Cabrera can get ready for this spot. I think Mike Schild had the thought pop into his head just that you said, tying run at the plate. I'm going to want my guy in there, and that's why Cabrera is getting ready in a hurry.
You know, thinking of these back-to-back no-hitters, I think of 1968. Remember when the Cardinals and the Giants did that?
Ray Washburn.
Yeah. That was in late not late. I think it was mid-September of that '68 season. But yeah, Washburn was a part of that.
Gaylord Perry for the San Francisco Giants.
All right, that's it for Tyler Webb. And the tying run is coming to the plate, and Cabrera coming in. Chevy called to the pen, takes his 2, hit assist Cabrera. Last 7 appearances, he's gone 8 1/3, 5 hits, has walked 5, but no runs. And the opponent has hit just 185 against him, and our Chevy called to the pen. This has gotten interesting.
Yeah, it has. And I'm thinking about our conversation earlier about Yadier Molina, and wouldn't it be nice to get him a couple innings off? And the conclusion that we both thought was, well, you wait for the right time. Well, clearly that time wasn't the right time, because this game has gotten the tighten up here, and you certainly want Yadi in there to catch Cabrera and finish this game out, because it is 1 pitch away from a tie game.
Lefty 6 for 33, a 182 average against Cabrera. Right-handers 9 for 42. So runners at first and second, and still only 1 out. And the first pitch by Cabrera. A strike. This is Polanco's, by the way, 26th career game with 3 or more runs batted in. 6 of the 26 have come against St. Louis. Gamble 0 for 2 tonight with a walk and the 0-1.
Cabrera, a 3-pitch pitcher, has the mid to upper 90s fastball, a sharp overhand curveball, and a pretty good changeup. The splits for Cabrera, pretty similar opponents' batting average versus lefties and righties, but both of them under 200.
The 2-1 pitch. 2-2. Check swing and did not go. 3-2. Well, Tyler Webb started the year 7 of 9 scoreless appearances. He's allowed runs in now 7 of his last 8. There's a ground ball. Goldschmidt will get the runner at second base. First and third with 2 down, and the switch hitting Wilmer Defoe.
Isn't it funny how outs late in the game just get hard to get, Danny?
Yeah. Defoe 2 for 14 from this side of the plate. Cardinals about hit the Pirates 10-8. They lead 8-5. 2 outs, 2 on. Floats in there for strike 1. The 0-1. Nothing in 2. The 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He got him. Keeps it a 3-run St. Louis lead. Let's stretch. St. Louis Cardinals baseball on Bally Sports Midwest is brought to you by BJC Healthcare, the world's best medicine made better. And by Budweiser, this Bud's for you. Cardinals have the top of the lineup coming up and trying to hold on for a 2-game sweep against the Pirates. Sam Howard is in. Chevy called to the pen.
Yeah, we talked about some of their good relievers, and he's certainly one of them, although the Cardinals touched him up in Pittsburgh in that weekend sweep that they had a couple weekends ago. He gave up 2 runs in one of the games, but he's a left-hander with good numbers and a live arm.
This is our Honda home run inning, the Gateway Honda home run inning. Cardinals hit a home run. Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. Tommy Edman, a 2-hit night. Scored a couple of runs, driven in 2. He's up to 10 this season. Outfield is straight away. And the first pitch is taken for a ball.
Cardinals have had 36 inherited runners score this season, which leads Major League Baseball. The bullpen generally has done a good job, but just had a hard time putting out some of the fires in the mid innings.
1 ball and 1 strike. It's been tough on the lefties. 2 for 23. And the Cardinals sending righties up now. The switch hitters, Edman, then Carlson, and the right-handed bopper Goldschmidt. The 2-1 pitch. Fouled back.
I asked Mike Schilt a week or so ago about having the 2 switch hitters at the top of the lineup when you're in, I guess, lineup construction theory as a manager in the big leagues. You know, what do you think about with that? Is there any kind of pros and cons? And he really said not really. I mean, what it does do is that you get to the top of the lineup, a team has a hard time game planning against you because you can go kind of either way with your first 2 batters, which you'll see a lot, but it really isn't a rhyme or reason to necessarily having them together or separated.
Take an eye, 3-2. Cardinals have received 7 walks tonight. They've left 10 on. The Pirates have stranded 8. Pirates have committed an error. Cardinals have not. St. Louis is out hit Pittsburgh 10-8 in the game. They lead by 3. 3-2 pitch, Tommy Edman. Fouled back.
And yet another walk.
And it's up to 8.
Well, we had hoped that the Cardinals had an answer to the runs that the Pirates scored in the top of the 5th inning. I guess you hope for the same thing in the 7th inning. Pirates have made this a close game. There's no question about it. Got to add on here.
There's Dylan Carlson. Walked and scored in the second. Base hit to left and an RBI in the fifth. The 0-1. Nothing in 2. The 0-2 pitch. Got him. So strikeout of Carlson, and now Goldschmidt, 3-hit night to go along with a strikeout back in the 5th inning.
Well, he clearly has a live fastball, 96 up in the zone.
I know the numbers may not bear it out. And as you talked about the numbers that he had against the Cardinals, I like this guy.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
First pitch to Goldie.
Well, the guys we saw in Pittsburgh that were pretty impressive were this guy Bednar, who's actually from the Pittsburgh area and getting a chance to pitch for his hometown team, and that's kind of a nice story. But when we were in Pittsburgh, Richard Rodriguez, I believe, had 10 innings and hadn't allowed a hit yet, or maybe one out of the bullpen. He's their closer. He's off to a good start.
The 1-0 pitch. Edman running. Throw down to second. Not in time. Is he on the bag? He is. Good take by Goldie, too. He could see that Tommy was running. Got a good jump.
That's smart at the plate for Goldie, who does a lot of smart things. We talked about the game of Twister that you have to play at second base. Left hand white. And hang on.
It's got to be done with the left hand because the right hand is not going to grip the bag.
Got the oven mitt on it.
Yeah. The 1-1 pitch.
It's really how sliding is taught now. That was never really an issue. I mean, but now it is. And you have to tag differently than you would have 5, 6, 7 years ago because
hold that tag.
You got to hold the tag, and also you have to act. There's no phantom tag.
That's right.
Ever since you've had replay, there was a time where as long as you got the glove down before the guy's feet were there, he's out.
Yep.
I'm not saying he should have been, but that's the way it was always called.
2-1 pitch. And a lot of times that middle infielder would keep the glove down, or at least close to where the feet would be, and before, by design, lift up the glove so the ball wasn't kicked out by the foot.
Right. Right.
It was just kind of accepted.
But now you've got to keep it down there, and what ends up happening is infielders are I think, more apt, and Tommy Edman does it every once in a while. You've got a foot in the way of the bag, so somebody's sliding into the bag. I think that's how Tyler O'Neill got hurt, sliding into a bag when there was a leg in the way.
2-2 pitch to Goldschmidt. Swung on and missed. Back-to-back Ks. And with 2 outs and a runner at second, it's Nolan Arenado. Arenado is 1 for 4 with a RBI tonight and a base hit to right center. Hitting .379 against left-handed pitching.
Having a great May, having a great year, and developing a St. Louis Cardinal fan base. You know, he's already had an MLB fan base and certainly a Colorado fan base, of which he's very appreciative, by the way. And I always love when he makes a great comment about not only Colorado but his former teammates. He's got nothing but love for them, as he should. But Cardinal fans are ready to love him too.
2 outs, runner at second. Inside, ball 1 on Arenado. 3 of his 10 home runs against left-handed pitching this year. And the 1-0 pitch to the Cardinal third baseman. 1 ball, 1 strike.
It looks like Cabrera will at least start the 8th inning. Giovanni Gallegos had a little extended play in game 1 of this series. He went 2 innings. May or may not be available, but perhaps the idea is to try to get the bridge today from Cabrera to Reyes, as it was Gallegos to Reyes last night.
In the air down the left field line and yanked foul. One ball, 2 strikes on Nolan Arenado. 2-2. Mentioned Kluber's no-hitter tonight of the Rangers. So the Rangers, Mariners, Indians all have been no-hit twice. No team has been no-hit 3 times in a season. Never happened.
Hold that thought.
I would say so. The 2-2 pitch. Popped up to the right side. Gonzalez gives it a look. Out of play. Long look by Sam Howard. And the 2-2 pitch to Nolan Arenado. Blew it by him. It was a leadoff walk and then 3 consecutive strikeouts. We move to the 8th. 8-5 in favor of the Cardinals here in the top of the 8th. Cardinals have out hit the Pirates 10-8. History again made tonight. Corey Kluber down in Texas. And he picks up the no-hitter. 100 pitches. Oh, buddy Luke Voigt there at first base.
That's right.
Kluber, Cone, David Wells, Dwight Gooden, Jim Abbott, Righetti. Cone and Wells were perfect games. One of them had Don Larson in the stands to watch.
Cardinals have had a bit of a drought in the no-hitter category. Maybe we should join in on the fun.
I bet you get one this year.
Flaherty?
That would be my guess. He's been, you know, there's been a couple of games. I think it was an 18 that he was into the 8th with no hits allowed.
Yeah.
A couple times.
Yeah. And he's got the stuff to do it.
Yeah. This is Michael Perez, 2 balls and 1 strike.
And Jack, we shouldn't forget, had a very good start in this game. Giving up 2 runs in 6 innings and doing exactly what he's supposed to do. Give your team a chance to win, and left with the lead. And he is at the moment on the positive end of maybe going 8-0. But the Cardinals bullpen has to shut the door here for the next 2 innings.
You have Ryan Helsley getting loose in the Cardinals pen. You could go back to Alex Reyes again as well. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And a ground ball into the shift. Edmundo Sosa. Now it's Gonzalez and then Frazier.
Sosa's looked so comfortable at shortstop. You know, it's such an important position on the field defensively. The catching is, of course, too. But, boy, your shortstop has to be smooth, and he's been all that.
Ryan Helsley coming into the ball game. Gonzalez due up, and then Adam Frazier. St. Louis trying to hold on. It's 8-5. Ryan Helsley into the ball game, and our Chevy called to the pen. It'll be Gonzalez and Frazier trying to get the final 2 outs here in the top of the 8th. You were asking me about no hitters. And from the Cardinals' perspective, I know who I want to get one.
Adam Wainwright.
You bet.
Wouldn't that be amazing? Well, of course, you think of Bud Smith. You think of Bob Forsch.
Jimenez. Forsch is the only Cardinal to author 2 of them. Your great teammate and Cardinal Hall of Famer.
And you think of a lot of almosts.
Michael Wacha comes to mind.
That's right.
Jack Flaherty took the final start the first half of 2019 in San Francisco. Evan Longoria broke up that home run.
That's
he actually lost that game. There they are. Smith, Jimenez, Forsch, Bob Gibson, Ray Washburn. We talked about that.
But 2001 was a minute ago.
Yeah. It's incredible how many no-hitters have been thrown already this year in baseball. The 0-1 pitch. Edman to his left, gobbles it up, 2 away. Frazier tonight on base 3 times. Couple of singles and a walk. If Waino would do it, it'd be like watching Kevin Costner in For Love of the Game.
Clear the mechanism.
Yes. Keller throwing in their bullpen for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Ryan Helsley has been very good at home. The opposition just 3 for 28 here at Busch Stadium against him.
He's got the high ERA that we showed you, but you know, he's also had a couple of blow-up games that has led to that.
I mean, last 2 times out.
Yeah, when he's on, he's tough.
Inning in a third and 4 earned his last 2 outings. Life of a reliever, as you well know.
Oh yeah, and it take a long time to build it. You build it up again, or build your numbers up again. Get the ERA down. It just takes a while.
Two balls and no strikes. 2 outs, nobody on. 3-0. Three and 1.
Cardinal relievers, well, there's not a shortage of guys that throw in the upper 90s. A lot of choices for that, including Helsley.
Cardinals have Molina, Bader, Williams due up in the bottom of the 8th. 3-1 pitch, Ryan Helsley. 3-2. This got him on his back leg.
Usually it's the foot, but that's, oh,
ouch.
My goodness, just above the left knee. That's unusual.
2 outs, nobody on, and a 3-2 pitch to Frazier. Line caught again. Sosa, his second diving catch. What a play. Not once, but twice tonight. Sosa at short, and it's 8-5. Nissan drives of the game, and it's Paul Goldschmidt, 3-hit night. That was early on. Back in the first, that scored Tommy Edman. Laced a single, scoring Tommy Edman again to center, and then hit him with their 8. And that was a base hit into right. 3 hits. Paul Goldschmidt. Cahill, the starter for the Pirates, dealt with a calf issue, had to leave in the second inning, only got 1 inning in the game tonight. Did pitch into the second. Polanco 2 for 3. Reynolds 1 for 4. Flaherty a chance at win number 8 tonight. Tommy Edman doing what Tommy does at the top of the lineup, and Paul Goldschmidt, as we mentioned, 3 for 5. Kyle Keller, our Chevy, called to the pen, and Keller has Molina, Bader, and Williams. Alex Reyes starting to throw out in the Cardinal bullpen.
Back-to-back important games for Edmundo Sosa. I think he's established himself at a different level in this series with the bat and with the glove. What a terrific catch to end the top half of the 8th.
Known for his glove in the minor leagues, getting his first real extensive look at big league action here and making the most of it. First pitch to Yachty is a ball outside. The Pirates will have Newman, Reynolds, and Polanco coming up in the 9th inning. The 1-0 pitch. A ball and a strike. Two strikes on Yadier Molina. Time called. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Yadier Molina. Big gap in left center. He struck out, grounded into a double play, fly to right field. His single back in the 6th inning to left field gave every Cardinal in the lineup, including from the pitcher spot, chance to get on base with either a walk hit by pitch, base hit, and a strikeout. That's 4 in a row in the Cardinal lineup. 9 tonight. 3 by Sam Howard in the 7th, and the first here in the 8th for Keller.
So the presumption is if the Cardinals don't score more runs against Keller, that we'd see Alex Reyes, who's getting loose in the Cardinals' pen. But what you can't do yet is tell Ryan Helsley that he's out of the game, because if the Cardinals get several runs, I think you run him back out there. By the way, you mentioned hit them where they ain't. That, of course, is Wee Willie Keeler.
Yep.
Was famous for saying that. He played for the Giants and the Yankees. He had a season, Dan, where you're talking about strikeouts also. He had 592 at-bats and struck out 5 times. 5 times in a 592.
592.
85% of the Hall of Famer Wee Willie Keeler's hits were singles, and he stood 5'4" and weighed 140 pounds. So the game has changed a little is what I'm trying to tell you.
Just a little bit.
In all facets of what I just said.
Yeah.
But hit them where they ain't still kind of works.
Popped up by Bader. I do have to wonder, Ricky, that even if the Cardinals would tack on some runs, they'd have to do it by getting to Helsley's spot.
Right.
So if you're going to get Reyes up in back-to-back games, even if they would be in a non-safe situation, I think he comes into the game one way or another. We'll see. But if he's up and throwing, I just think he's coming in. Something to think about.
And if Williams hits a home run here and Sosa makes it out, 4-run game, let him pitch anyway.
Yeah. It's another way to look at it, too.
I will say baseball has really learned a lot of lessons the hard way on how to get guys loose in the bullpen and when, and to count the number of pitches. Brian Eversgerd every day counts every pitch that every reliever throws. I mean, he's got a clicker and he's watching it. I mean, he knows exactly the number of pitches that you throw, and that gets cataloged.
1-1 to count on Justin Williams, on base 3 times tonight. And it's 1-2.
Gone are the days of getting a righty and a lefty up just for the heck of it.
Yeah. Randy Choate next to some guy throwing 95. Those are over.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. No, you're up for a very specific moment in time, and we don't want you wasting a lot of pitches out in that bullpen. And the Cardinals have so many relievers that were starters. They've all had to learn how to do that.
Sure. And Williams hits it on a line, but right to Polanco. We head to the 9th. 8-5 and Reyes coming in. Tommy Edman again igniting the Cardinal offense at the top of the lineup. St. Louis with a 3-run lead. Tommy Edman, the Budweiser player of the game, started things off offensively for the Cardinals with a double off the wall. Then he drove in 2. The single to center, and also picked up another run batted in on a sac fly in the 5th. The Budweiser player of the game. Now Alex Reyes, he has converted all 12 of his save opportunities this year, trailing only Mark Melancon of San Diego, who has 14 for the longest save streak in the majors this year.
And they all haven't been easy. Been some rocky roads with walks in some of them.
First pitch, knocked down by Arenado, quickly to first, not in time. Took a little tricky hop there at the end.
I would think that would be scored a base hit. That ball was smoked. Well, maybe not. Well, that should be an E5.
And if it is an error, it'll be his 5th this season. Still has not been scored, and it now has been ruled a base hit.
It looks slower in slow motion. Live, I thought it was a hit.
It's a bullet.
When I saw it in the slow motion, I thought, oh, that's easy. And this game, we all know, is not easy.
And the 0-1 pitch to Reynolds, shift on the right side. Breaking pitch looks good tonight.
Reyes has weapons. Changeup, curveball, slider, fastball. He's got the starter repertoire.
The 0-2 pitch. That's out of play. Reynolds has struck out twice, single to right, and picked up an RBI and a ground out in the 7th. The 0-2 pitch. Fastball misses low and away at 97. Off day tomorrow. Then the Cubs in town. 7:15 Friday night. We're on the air at 6:30. The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Struck him out.
Such a devastating breaking ball from Alex Reyes. There it is. The slider down and in. Downward break. Looked like a strike. And then it wasn't.
Polanco on base 3 times. He's driven in 3, scored a run, and walked. He's 0 for 3 with a strikeout against Alex Reyes. Double play could end this game. Tell you what, that pitch tonight is, he's got it going.
I mean, you could see it live bending about halfway to the plate sharply.
This is as sharp of a curveball that I think we've seen from him all year. He's had the slider and the fastball. The 2-1 pitch by Alex Reyes to Polanco. 2-2. Two pitch.
Overcooked that one a bit. He wanted to throw that one so nasty, and sometimes you just overthrow it.
And a 3-2 pitch. Got him. This guy, I mean, Ricky, he has got some kind of arsenal, doesn't he? Wow.
So let's harken back to our earlier conversation about no-hitters.
No-hitters, I'm thinking of that too next year, maybe.
Is he going to be the next guy to do it next year? Exactly right.
The plan would be to send him to the rotation next year. But right now, fits in quite nicely in the back end of games. Cardinals 1 out away. Here's Vargas. Strike 1. Newman will take second base. Fielders indifference, defensive indifference. And the 0-1. Now 0-2.
The breaking ball is elite right now.
Yep. Ends it with a strikeout. Strikes out 3 in a row to finish off the Pirates in a 2-game sweep. And the final of 8-5.
So many good moments in this game. Reyes finishes it off. He gets save number 13. Jack Flaherty goes to 8-0. The Cardinals bent a little bit in the middle of the game. They got the Pirates back in it, but Cabrera was great. Helsley was good, and wow, Alex Reyes was dynamite.
Dynamite. That curveball was filthy tonight. Fun to watch. Fun night here at the ballpark. Cardinals win it 8-5. They're dominating the Pirates right now. Post-game show comes your way next.